Tenma is sharing an awakening ceremony with his classmates in front of the Northern Commander, Mendu Izumi, the same man who taught and created the strongest awakener and the light of humanity. To help these children awaken their potential, he summons an awakening monolith. Several students tried but didn't get any luck with awakening. Ironically, the fattest bully bitch among them ended up getting awakened. Our boy shoved his ass aside and interacted with the stone with a fierce determination. It was that time that the Northern Commander himself saw a literal god of destruction representing the boy's spirit. The monolith blossoms an enormous blue lotus, while Tenma acquires a hidden skill called over-mimesis, allowing him to adapt to any opponent's skill and create a counter one in its place, basically giving him overpowered Maharaga powers. The fatso couldn't handle the jealousy and tried to attack our boy. In a sudden flash, this man pops up behind Fatty's ass as if his rent was due and paralyzes him in fear, making him shit his pants and hit the floor. With complete analysis, Tenma gains Thunder Wave as a counter skill, bringing him into a mini Lotus domain each time he completes his adaptation. He is hailed as a literal monster who has just acquired an overpowered skill, but unbeknownst to everyone's expectations, a giant monolith falls from the sky, collapsing on top of the Institute. Even with the Northern Commander here, it's going to be a problem. The monolith's descent implies the coming of a powerful disaster beast, so naturally everyone's running. But our boy is literally too angry to effing care. He stands up to business to deal with the threat all alone. He even feels lucky that his first enemy as an awakener is the same type of creature responsible for killing his mother, so this is a truly happy day for him. Keep in mind that he's saying all that shit to a badass skeleton soldier who is literally on fire. Having acquired his new powers, our boy wonders if he should test them out right away. Using Thunderwave, he rockets ahead with lightning speed, confronting the skeleton soldier. The monster slams its attack, but thanks to Tenma's incredible speed, he's able to not only evade it, but also hammers the gigantic monster with a ferocious punch, refusing to be looked down upon and let anyone else die at the hands of these creatures. Just that one single hit alone puts that thing on the ground, earning the surprise and attention of all his classmates. They're stunned by Tenma's overwhelming strength and wonder if running away is even needed anymore. The same rookie who was nothing a few moments ago suddenly had the ability to annihilate a level 8 calamity beast across a building. The reaction of the supervisor is the same, as Tenma's level 0 far exceeds the strength of an ordinary level 0 awakener. Still, even for at his level, beating a skeleton soldier should be impossible as the creature has two powerful abilities. First, it comes with enormous defense, and the second one is kickstarting right now, something called Bonefire, a wall of searing blue flames that eviscerate anything that interacts with it. Our boy's friends are worried while Big Mac Attack Grinchface is excitedly celebrating his demise. It seems like the end, but it's really just the beginning, get it? Thanks to taking inspiration from Kakashi the Copy Ninja, Tenma analyzes the ability in the back of his mind. He also notices during this moment that his rate of analysis continuously increases the moment he is struck by an enemy's attack. The Snow Bunny instructor can't believe her eyes right now, as not even a level 10 awakener should be able to tank the Bonefire attack from the skeleton soldier. Actually, our boy's body is literally burning off its skin. This man's ribs can be seen as his body withers away, while he aura farms without giving a single fuck about the situation. All he sees is the sight of his beloved mother who experienced the same merciless flames, and at this point, the supervisor realizes that this guy hasn't even used his full powers yet. The Genius Awakener is out here looking like Gus from Breaking Bad at the end of his life, and threatens to kill the skeleton soldier the second his analysis reaches completion. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat how metal this scene fucking looks. His classmates feel bad for always underestimating him. Some of them take notice of the blue lotus surging once more, indicating that the Awakener is about to show off a miracle. Body withering away, Tenma reaches for the new skill and learns the Black Ice Wall, which can generate ice on the surface of any body to deflect fire-based attacks. At the same time he obtains this skill, the system heals him back to full health, stopping him from withering away from the flames of Itachi's Amaterasu. Tenma understands that he couldn't defeat the soldier with a single attack, but now that he's boosted his stats once more, theoretically he should be able to do it. The gorgeous petals of the lotus engulf his body, replenishing him back to full health, while his classmates cheer him on, unable to believe how this man is moving like Gojo in Sukuna's malevolent shrine to heal his wounds. The teacher is starstruck by the use of his healing ability, even though the kid literally just used a lighting-based attack too. One thing remains clear, this man is built different. He's an exceptional awakener. His self-recovery process makes them wonder if this man can also destroy parts like regenerating his brain or something. While that is an interesting question, for now the skeleton soldier is pissed off and sends another wave of blue flames against him. This time, however, our boy covers his body with a thick metallic piece of ice. Not even the searing blue flames are capable of melting this ice armor, which means he's completely immune to it now. Cutting through the flames, this man lunges ahead like a god of destruction himself, dodging the soldier's wide slash and using that same ice armor to generate an enormous sword extending from his arm. The dude looks like a final boss, and it's only the beginning of the story right now. Using that building-sized sword, Tenma slashes the skeleton monster with a clean Kit Kat strike, shocking the spectators. They're at a loss for words when it comes to both his speed and strength. His movements are incapable of being perceived with the human eye. Tenma's armor withers away with the fight coming to an end, as he boasts having obtained the ultimate skill of both offense and defense. His friends call him after the fight, with Ruki coming to hug him. Sayo apparently didn't come to see him and ran off after being worried about him. Tenma wonders if he made her angry, while the instructor and the supervisor are mutually left with their faces full in shock. A mere awakened boy defeated a calamity beast so powerful that not even a level 100 awakener could defeat it. Choha is told to clean up the mess and leave a message to the principal, stating that the genius awakener is coming with them. Tenma's best friend glazes him for looking like a god during the fight, while the supervisor comes along to personally share a conversation. The rest of the classmates all jumped up, knowing that Izumi Mendu might try to make this guy his student. Keep in mind that this man also ended up raising the strongest awakener in existence, Jin Taewa, so he's got high standards too. Bro's friend dashes off to give them some space, while the northern commander here commends the boy for his special talent. Tenma doesn't understand what he means, but apparently Mendu has taken notice of the boy's sheer hatred and anger rooted inside his heart. He's curious what made him become such a resentful human. The sob story begins as Tenma shares his tragic loss of his parents. 10 years ago, he was seconds away from being dead meat from a skeleton monster when suddenly an awakener saved him. Unfortunately, he watched his mother wither away before his very eyes as the bonfire flames ate her flesh. She told her son to walk the rest of his journey with conviction. From then on, the boy grew hatred, and held that hatred for calamity beasts. He wanted to slaughter them, assuring the demise of the demon of ruin and the rest of his kind. That same hatred surfaces even now with Tenma crying, an interesting detail that Mendu notices. Strangely, his left eye stopped producing tears, but his right one does it all on its own. This is something that happened after the loss of his mother too. After listening to that talk no jutsu sob story, Mendu extends our boy an offer, desiring to take him as a student and be put in the top league so he can kill the monsters. The Savior League is an organization built for the very purpose of combating and slaughtering calamity beasts, consisting of the strongest awakens in the world. It's kind of like an army of awkwardness made to kill monsters. Each of its members are called saviors. These people are granted proper resources, weapons, and training opportunities to gain rewards. Just like a job, even a trainee savior earns 10,000 gold every month, and in this economy, I'd work for even 200. It's a generous amount, and all of these privileges come with a certain expectation. Saviors are required to fight calamity beasts whenever called. They're the front lines defending the world from them. In all honesty, Tenma doesn't even care about the reward. All he cares about is killing those monsters for the love of the game. Bro wants to become Doomslayer at this point. Anyway, he accepts the offer to become a savior, and learns that each February, the league holds an exam with 10,000 participants. Points are granted based on merit, but only the top 100 best-performing candidates are allowed to become saviors. This makes our boy curious about the highest earned score. Mendo remembers the top score being 115,000 points, created by Jin Taewa, the strongest warrior. For 11 years, no one has been able to touch it, and earning even 50% of those points can guarantee first place in the exam. Tenma reveres this guy for being the light of humanity and an absolute monster at humanity's disposal, but Mendu assures him that comparing his talent to Jin Taewa is unwise, as he's in a different league of his own. However, our boy's got Asagi's ego from Blue Lock and intends to smash that record, surprising Mendu with his words. It reminds him of his conversation with Tiwajin, his student, who expressed that someday, a human will come to surpass his talent. It seems as if the new sun has finally arrived to replace the old. That kind of potential rests in the boy before him. In the next scene, they find themselves at the stone monuments, the ones responsible for creating passages between the two worlds. Killing monsters isn't enough. One has to get rid of the monuments too, or else they'll keep spawning. The building in front of them is built specifically to isolate such monuments, preserving them but making sure calamity beasts don't escape either. They can act like tests for new saviors for training purposes, making it a training facility. In the League's terms, it's called a stage, and the monsters inside are considered uncontrollable too. This is also why rookies get slaughtered when they enter these monuments or stage training grounds, earning it the title of the Rookie's Graveyard. Jin Taewa at his earliest cleared the stage in 3 minutes as his record, so Mendu is hoping for our boy to smash the same test in just under 3 minutes. It's only then that Mendu will officially regard him as his student. In the next scene, Mendu is walking around with his newest rookie that everyone has been talking about. People are starting to compare this guy to the legend of the strongest warrior, unable to wrap their heads around the fact that he's walking shoulder to shoulder with Mendu himself. While they're wondering all kinds of things, our boy looks at the disaster level. It's 10 for this stage, 2 levels stronger than the skeleton soldier, making him wonder just what kind of monsters he's up against. From the shock expressed on the people's faces, Tenma curiously wonders why everyone here seems like a normie who has never stepped foot inside the stage. Going up to the reception lady, he requests entering the stage. She guides him and asks about his party, only for our boy to state that he's the only one. A moment of silence ensues. The receptionist takes it as a form of disrespect and thinks this guy is hitting on her. Bro landed in the anti-Riz territory really fast and lost the baddie. Tenma has no idea what's going on. Even the spectators are mocking him for trying to be a hotshot with an ego. To clarify, he explains his intentions again, stating that he doesn't want to crack her, he just wants to challenge the stage. Again, this reception lady thinks she's the queen and that he's just trying to save himself from the embarrassment. She's even ready to hand over her number just to stop this idiot from going overboard. Genuinely rage-baited, this man threatens her that he won't repeat a third time. He isn't interested in a chopped receptionist. All he cares about is his stage mission. Terrified of his words, she agrees with his request, emphasizing that his death will be on his own shoulders. Tenma grabs the bracelet and wraps it around his arm, frustrated that he had to deal with that annoying encounter. The rest of the beta simps around him think he's an idiot for not snagging the girl's number and playing Mr. Tough. The thing is, any rookie who challenges the level 10 stage is basically looking to get molested by the monsters. That's how despairing the gap is. Most of these D1 haters are talking shit, but some of them are curious about Tenma's gift and how he'll use it to leverage his position. The problem is that despite his gift, his level is still 0, so in their eyes, he's as good as dead. Focusing on the task at hand, Tenma scans the bracelet with his identification details, gaining entry to the other side. With the administrative boring stuff finished, he stretches to get ready to throw hands. The timer kicks off and so does his countdown to defeat the stage in 3 minutes. This man monstrously lunges ahead, realizing that this place is freaking huge, even if it's an artificial stage. For his first ever encounter with a monster, he runs into a level 4 Kodama, a really fucked up looking dog if you ask me. Bro slaughters this thing with a single sword slash. Remember his ice morphing powers? He can easily manifest a battle axe and weapons for every use case. With one of the Kodamas sliced, the rest of the hungry tree logs arrive, looking like a horrific twist on Pokemon's. Outside, Agia strongly opposes this trial put up by her father. There were several other stages that rookies could have challenged, and yet he sent Tenma to the toughest first one. It's just the reality that he wants to see Tenma ultimately surpassing Jin, so he's comparing both of their results. Even Ageha thinks that it's impossible to surpass the ultimate warrior, as his limits are beyond the realm of humanity, but her father is curious if she agrees with that opinion. To her, Jin seemed approachable and nice at first, but then she witnessed that man slaying a level 97 calamity beast like it was nothing. She met his eyes, cold and calculating, one of a god. It's like this man has majestically surpassed the human race and has become a deity himself. While that is true, Mendu argues that the same potential is seen in the likes of Tenma, but it's going to take a while to transcend him to that level. Jin is a god who is the savior of humanity, but Tenma seems like a demon who is engulfed by his own hatred, making the two of them complete opposite forces. Back to the stage, our boy has annihilated the Kodama group with ease. Unfortunately, his ability, over-mimesis, won't even regard these weakling creatures as something to scan from. Suddenly, Bro experiences a "he's standing right behind me, isn't he?" moment and instantly retaliate with a slash. Surprisingly, it was easy to kill that one too. Tenma is starting to wonder if these disaster level 10 creatures are all weak, but that can't be right, or else this stage wouldn't have been considered a rookie graveyard. There has to be something he doesn't know about, and he's exactly right. The system detects a B-rank skill called self-regeneration, kickstarting the analysis cycle. Our boy wasn't expecting that, as the same creature he cut down stands up again like a colossus, overwhelming our boy with earthly vines. Even after being cut down, the creature regenerated from that injury. It's not a surprise why this monster is hard to kill, standing at a whopping level 10 in strength. Activating Black Ice Wall, Tenma unleashes sharp spikes and covers both his arms with them. His goal is to inflict so much damage upon the creature to the point it is incapable of regeneration. While he's cutting it relentlessly with his dual swords, he's also processing the analysis cycle in the back of his mind. A prominent slash even severs the creature's head in two, but that's not enough to kill it either. Tenma takes supreme joy in cutting it down. He's the monster here, the one who wants to tear it apart so it can't even regenerate. This man ends up giving the monster so many cuts, you'd think it experienced Sukuna's domain expansion. The monster explodes to bits and pieces, concluding the fight, which is good because Tenma is already running low on mana from spamming his Black Ice skill. But a plot twist, this thing still ends up regenerating back to full health even from tiny bits, taking inspiration from Perfect Cell. Frustrated, Tenma avoids each hit, shocked that he's dealing with a persistent monster. The good thing is that each time this creature regenerates, his analysis speed multiplies further. But the fight is starting to overwhelm him, to the point he's saving up on mana by not using Black Ice at all. The smarter play here is to use speed and wait until the analysis is complete. But the worst part is that he's running low on time too. Saying "fuck it we ball," He activates Thunderwave alongside Black Ice Wall to utilize last-minute/attempt. Tenma cuts through the creature's vines, forcing it to regenerate many times to speed up his analysis process, because if he runs out of mana, he'll be killed on the spot. Then again, if this is his level, then he's fine with dying since he would be a shitty imposter. Mustering one last slash, Tenma unleashes his fury to try and cut the creature's head. Unfortunately, the jig is up, his mana has run out, and the second it did, he ended up getting more holes in his body than a slice of cheese. This is his final chance as the mimesis process reaches completion. It's the only thing that doesn't require mana from his arsenal. The moment it reaches completion, the blue lotus spawns again, acquiring Lotus Burst from self-regeneration. The monster does its best to try and sever him again, but the Lotus Burst effect is currently activating, detonating all surrounding mana into an explosive destruction. As per the completion of mimesis, all wounds that hurt Tenma end up getting auto-healed. The monster watches in shock, and the moment our boy claps his hands, the Lotus unleashes literal hell. The destruction incinerates everything in the surrounding area, reducing the creature to ashes. By the end, Tenma appears wounded from the outburst of his attack. This was his final trump card in the fight. By the way, he unleashed this much destruction just by expending a third of his mana after gaining it back via mimesis. He no longer will feel any difficulty destroying mob monsters. Also, the mimesis skill is confirmed to have both mana and health replenishing properties. A single shard remains, while the situation of the outside world is in chaos. The reception lady is worried about the rookie who went inside and begs them to call a rescue team. Even Yahello wasn't expecting our boy to end up losing to a level 10 monster. The bigger problem is clearing the stage in under 2 minutes. Suddenly, the stage reveals that a new record has been set, stunning everyone's expectations. The record of 11 years has been broken by Itsuki Tenma, who literally cleared it in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. When he exits the stage, this man looks like he came out of a war. All of his haters have now turned into his fans, because the underdog pulverized Jin's record with a whole minute lead. Our boy comes up to Mendu, questioning if he has now earned his mentorship. The man is genuinely impressed, praising his new disciple. It's one of the rarest times that a geisha has seen her father smile like that. The spectators believe that it was all the works of Izumi that allowed his student to beat Jin's record, but that's not the story at all. The reception lady comes around feeling really embarrassed for her earlier act. She presents him with a gift for setting a new record, something our boy didn't expect. He doesn't even blame her for being worked up over a reckless newbie challenging a higher stage. This time, bro's words actually manage to riz her up, causing her to feel flustered. Ajeha, on the other hand, teases our boy, reminding him not to get cocky just because he's become her father's student. Mendu thinks the level is too easy for the likes of his talent, so it's time to raise the difficulty. He believes the correct stage for him is the advanced stage. As an important note, levels don't just indicate the threat level of a disaster beast. The most critical factor is actually their species, because some lack intelligence while others have more intelligence than even the likes of humans. Those monsters are much harder to deal with than the ordinary disaster beast. In hindsight, both awakeners and disaster beasts function in the same way. Humans possess different jobs, indicating their strength, while monsters have species differing theirs. Advanced stages house more intelligent monsters. Defeating them even at the same level is enormously difficult compared to the average monster. Tenma's next destination is set in District 4 of the Northern Stage, and he's starting to realize that all this time, he only beat shitty creatures that lacked even basic intelligence to outplay him. Knowing that intelligent species can feel pain, Tenma is ecstatic and fully invested in torturing such monsters. Bro even lets off his terrifying aura, having just found himself new victims. The reaction of the crowd is overwhelming as people can't stop talking about Jin's record of 11 years being shattered by a new underdog. Still, advanced stages are tough, and the ones in District 4 are entirely dominated by one man. Many Awakeners have entered to challenge advanced stages, only to end up missing. Rumor has it that there's a secret assassin. One idiot blurts out Reiji Kinoshida's name, while another tries to stop him from getting killed for talking shit. Reiji is revealed to be the son of the ward chief of District 4, and this trust fund Nepo baby loves being serviced. All the stages in District 4 belong to him, and waiting is for shitty newbies instead. Opening up the chest box, he discovers a similar stone from what he found on the stage. Mendu is surprised he ran into one, because it happened right after killing the disaster beast. There's a key difference in the two stones. One appears green, which genuinely stuns a geisha because it's considered of the intermediate quality. Tenma wants to know what a karma stone really is, and learns that it's basically considered an experience stone. Beating monsters or killing awakeners creates karma, or something called experience points. Those eventually become responsible for boosting your level. In this case, the karma stone is something that already contains that karma, and absorbing it allows the user to boost their levels significantly. The strangest part of all is how a karma stone ended up naturally forming inside the stage. Mendu the master speaks, believing it must be influenced under Tenma's gift, stunning both of them. Apparently the karma contained inside the defeated ends up being absorbed by the victor, but the fact that Tenma didn't level up after defeating 2 disaster beasts suggests that he couldn't absorb the karma. Mendu's theory is that all this time, the karma that Tenma gained by killing monsters ended up being naturally absorbed by the surrounding awakeners instead of him. But the stage is different. There's no one there to absorb the karma, and Tenma can't absorb his own anyway. That's why it forcefully solidified itself into a stone. But Ageha's worried that our boy is stuck in a standstill because he can't even level up. Her father stops her from asking information from Tenma about his skill. It's supposed to be a secret after all. Anyway, Mendu suggests our boy sell the stone if he wants to make use of it. Personally, he's going to be away for a while for a meeting with the leaders of the 5 continents. His daughter will look after Tenma in the meantime. However, he does leave with a few important points. Tenma is told to keep his status as a disciple a secret, and he's also instructed not to tell anyone about the details of his gift. Third, the teacher wants him to clear at least 6 advanced stages before his arrival. And finally, Tenma is given freedom to do whatever he wants with his power, because it's his own to use. The rookie accepts his orders as the scene cuts off to the northern district. Some awakeners are frustrated that they're not given space even when it's their turn. Reiji Kinoshida's guards are here to reserve the spot for him, telling these kids to get lost. The awakeners talk some tough game, mouthing Reiji off as some rich pampered kid who will eventually get reported to the guild. But apparently he fucked around too much because the same dude ends up getting launched into the nearest wall. This muscle brute is attacked by an immediate B-rank earth spike, only for it to result in 0 damage. This guy's face goes metallic, while the blonde fails to understand how a technique that could easily pierce through monsters is unable to do damage against this muscle-brained freak. The big guy grabs both his arms before headbutting the shit out of his face, knocking him out. A level 7 and 8 awakener, both were taken out without being able to do a thing to Reiji's bodyguard. This man is Takeru Oga, one of the 4 strongest men under Reiji's influence, and he's also a level 12 metal bender. Metal Dick over here reminds everyone that anyone who dares to rebel against Reiji's orders will get killed. He doesn't even want the others to take these 2 awakeners away, fully planning on torturing them. His friends suggest Takeru to hold back a little, as the people are watching closely. Suddenly, someone speed blitzes him really fast. The dude's body fumbles right into Tenma's arms. Everyone around them assumes Tenma to be some kind of loser who's just signed his own death. Even this guy calls him an idiot for trying to overcome Reiji's orders and offers a final warning. But Tenma knows full well that he has to enter the stage, and that Takeru is his only obstacle. Ejiha reports the situation to the higher-ups, but our boy is planning to handle things his way, recalling his teacher's words to do what he thinks is right. He leaves the injured in her hands and exudes malevolent aura even for a level 0 awakener. Takeru can't believe that the level 0 rookie has the balls to stand up to him, but strangely, he feels a unique kind of pressure, making him wonder if the kid has some kind of gift. Relying on his stats, Takeru blindly believes he's got the upper hand here. But then he receives a jolt of shock. He watches our boy blitz him with insane speed as Tenma's punch kisses this guy's face. The spectators suddenly go quiet, unable to comprehend the rookie's speed. Luckily, Takeru managed to metalize himself before the punch made contact, so no injuries were made. Coating his arms in metal, he thunders down his heavy fists, praising his opponent's speed but also highlighting Tenma's lack of strength. Our boy evades swiftly, knowing that he just missed his one opportunity to deal a surprise attack on a superior opponent. His best shot right now is to rely on Thunderwave and boost it even further, prompting Tenma to activate his metallization process in the background. The metallization skill is dangerous enough to earn mimesis effects, which means our boy can't hold back either and has to go serious. Tenma understands that normal attacks won't work, but all he's got to do is target Takeru's flesh for considerable damage. He wounds up a kick to strike his face, but Takeru manages to block it just in time, criticizing the weakling's lack of power and speed. But this is actually our boy's strategy. He's conditioning his opponent to predict his max speed, only to upgrade Thunderwave even more. Takeru is completely caught off guard witnessing the usage of a lightning element. This time our boy ramps up his speed to such an insane extent that he's out here throwing a dozen punches and actually connecting every single one of them. The analysis process continues in the background, while the spectators are starting to realize that this rookie can use multiple skills. With no opening left for Takeru to metallize, all he can wonder is how this kid managed to get insane levels of speed for his rank. With so many punches raining down on his body, he can't even issue a voice command to force the others to help him. This dude is in a pinch, and in a final desperate attempt, he decides to pull out his trump card. Apparently that trump card is called blasting off my shirt to show off that demonic back. But really, bro goes full shiny mode and engulfs himself in full metallization. It's his first time being cornered to the point he had to use this skill. All of his metallic parts get a 50% defense boost, another 50% on top of it when he's not moving. By the way, I love how we can literally say this dude's balls are made out of titanium now. Anyway, Takeru's feeling grateful for evolving to this level and intends to give the rookie an easy death. With a defense crossing level 12, the others start to wonder if anyone at the same level could break this dude's defense. But that won't matter in a minute or two, because the analysis process is nearly complete. Our boy casually points out that Takeru invested all his points in defense, completely forgetting about his mana stats. Takeru acts like he's talking shit, but deep down, he knows the rookie is right in his assumption. Tenma assures this guy that he's got no interest in forcing his mana to deplete. Instead, he'll end the fight in an instant. The Blue Lotus spawns, creating another evolution in Tenma's power. The gorgeous lotus blossoms and dazzles the spectators, though they've got no idea how this pretty thing is going to beat Metal Dick. With its completion, Tenma earns the Clear Orb Piercing True Sphere. It's a defense-ignoring ability, guaranteeing damage. The only problem comes with range and speed. It's far too slow, making it easy for people to avoid that. This forces Tenma into a situation where he has to time the track, to rip apart the very defense that Takeru is so proud of. With the skill activated, our boy's stats increase even further as he casts the creation of a piercing orb. Even at this distance, Tenma confidently challenges his opponent to dodge this upcoming attack. Watching Tenma's performance has caught the cheer of the spectators, making them wonder what he's about to pull next. The piercing ball slowly moves past their eyes. It's just a tiny little thing, so it's inconceivable to get hit by something like that. The ball is so tiny that Metal Dick over here is even willing to stand still, taking it head on, believing downplaying Tenma's trump card. The ball ends up making contact with his arm, and the look of horror sets on his face. It literally destroys this man's arm, causing it to explode in a pool of blood. Tenma even instructed this idiot to dodge. He specifically aimed at his arm to show mercy, but he really could have aimed for a fatal area if this guy was a monster. Takeru is screaming in pain as Tenma orders the clowns to fetch this guy to a hospital. They pathetically pick him up and take him away, as the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. Wait, I forgot this isn't Cartoon Network. Tenma is hailed as a hero among the crowd. Some of us even want to team up with him to clear stages in no time. The situation is so bad that guys are fighting each other just to get their hands on him. But this man's far too busy relishing his newest skill, something that could take out a defense monster like Takeru himself. The orb has another effect of getting faster the more it kills people with higher defense stats than Tenma himself. The two clowns beg him for an answer to make him join their teams, but he openly declines, stating he's fine off alone. Again, the same reaction is given by the crowd as last time, calling him a fool for solo challenging an advanced stage just because he could beat Takeru. People's impression of him changes really fast, and they're fine with leaving this psychopath to die now. With the naysayers gone, Mendu's daughter emphasizes that each calamity beast in the advanced stages is relative to Takeru's defense, so our boy really has to manage his mana carefully. But Tenma's chill with it and tells her not to worry, causing her to feel flustered because his death will earn humiliation from her father. Aside from that, Ageha highlights that stone beasts move in groups, but they're still dumb, so Tenma could take advantage of them by seeking mana drain. The bracelet signs him off to challenge the stage as our boy enters his next big event. He didn't expect to face off so many of these huge rock lizards. All of them have super high stats too, way higher than the creatures he fought before. The Colossus statue charges at him at full speed, while Tenma decides to whip out his piercing orb to use it against their shielding high defense stats. I can't help but point out the similarities of the lotus petals with Archer's Ro Ayas from Fate. Anyway, the orb makes contact with the statue, carving a hole straight through its body and killing it immediately. This earns a 100% speed increase in the orb's speed, which is amazing for Tenma in every turn. 3 of the scary statues lunge at him, but our boy is on that Killua energy with his lightning and blitzes past them. He defeats 3 of the monsters using his explosive attack after spending a third of his mana again. But the fight's not over. 2 more creatures lunge from opposite directions. This man casts Hollow Purple to finish them off with his piercing orb. First, he dodges both of the statues, causing them to smash into each other. This allows him the perfect vantage point to hit them with a monstrous piercing orb. The speed of the orb is even faster this time, and kills both monsters in a single go. Tenma topples, feeling exhausted as his mana extinguishes to 0. He's having a real hard time with his mana constraints lately, and hopes to gain a mana recovery skill soon. His current speed of progress is promising after increasing the orb's speed to 5 meters per second. But bro completely forgot about the final monster who comes crashing down upon him, unleashing literal destruction. One of the monsters ended up using gigantification skill, literally becoming a threat that Godzilla would have to come and eliminate. Its sheer size is a problem, but Tenma is managing himself using lightning speed. Bro is dashing up like the Flash, not knowing if he can pierce a creature as huge as this one. Carefully selecting his target, he aims at the monster's head, releasing a piercing orb shot. But from this distance alone, Tenma figures that the orb is so small that it's going to do minimal damage. The Titanic stone statue retaliates with a fist of its own, and since our boy can't even dodge mid-air, he's left with no choice but to spam the use of black ice to tank the hit. Still, the impact sends this dude flying, crushing him into the nearest wall. The fight's way harder than what he thought it would be. Sensing the need for overmimesis, the system starts analyzing automatically, bringing satisfaction to our boy's face. The scene cuts into Reiji's place, where one of his agents expresses his shock. The man offends him with his noise, but also informs him of some sudden news. Apparently someone managed to beat Takeru and got inside one of the advanced stages. The news pisses off this pampered bitch, unable to believe how Takeru even lost with his level. The only reasonable explanation is that someone over level 30 bested him. Unfortunately, the awakeners of this level are skilled and deal with actual missions, so they don't bother playing with weak awakeners. Everyone in the facility is around level 10, but there's just no way Walmart Aizen can believe that a level 10 warrior beat Takeru. Reiji intends to investigate the matter on his own, believing that he'll make it in time to the same location if they hurry now. His agent even recommends that they proceed with the side of caution, but obviously room temperature IQ over here doesn't heed his warning. Reiji is in the mood to humble this person for ever daring to mess with the Kinoshita family. As for our boy, somehow he managed to survive and reach 100% analysis. Shielding in his lotus, the system marks the completion of the gigantification skill, but strangely, Tenma didn't get a new skill this time. Instead, his piercing orb upgraded to level 2, allowing him the ability to adjust the size of the orb and even doubling its passive speed increase. Testing out both effects at once, Tenma activates his newly evolved orb, manifesting an orb that extinguishes every last ounce of his mana. This is the most powerful piercing orb he has made up until now, and it launches like a literal nuke. Bro is even out here posing like Gojo after his final kill shot, wondering if he went too far at the end. The defeat of the stone golem marks another step in his progress. The orb's speed has boosted up to 7 meters per second, and if he can just clear the stage 2 more times, he'll end up ramping it up to a car's speed. All this time, the passive effects he's been ignoring are actually proving to be quite useful to him. Lotus Burst allows for greater utilization of all his skills, which means as long as he can buff Lotus Burst's passive effect, he'll have enough power to be able to snipe monsters from thousands of meters away. The advanced stage is marked completed in a mere 3 minutes, setting another record and bewildering the other Awakeners. People want to know why and how this guy is a level 0 because it makes 0 sense at all. Then there's him looking like he came out of a shower, no signs of injuries. Even Ageha is impressed, always amazed by him. She praises him for being quick with his completion rate, but that's just thanks to the help of the piercing orb he obtained. Strangely, he spots a butterfly lingering around her. It's called a jade butterfly. Ageha is actually a Shikigami user, but I'm too busy noticing those curves to care about the butterfly. No one ask me the color, please. He interacts with the cute thing, calling it beautiful, and directly asking Ageha about the kind of jobs regular Awakeners even have. She's shocked that he doesn't have any basic knowledge of that. Jobs are actually divided into 4 categories, and our boy has already witnessed 3 of them so far. The first kind is the Elementalist, with a wide range of elements making up the list. These Awakeners are also the most common, and are known to have the highest combat power. The fatty from his class, and even Takeru is the same. The second type of Awakener is a Shikigami user. That's right, bitches. We're doing it the Megumi way Jujutsu Kaisen style. Shikigami stay with their master from the moment they're born, which is why she's got one of her own. With 2 types clarified, she waits for him to ask questions. Our boy is shocked to see that her jade butterfly is even higher level than her, making him question her veteran status. Bro ended up destroying the poor girl's ego with those words without even trying to sugarcoat. Ageha corrects his misunderstanding of power, explaining that Shikigami will always be higher leveled than their master. But in a situation like that, Tenma's calculative brain figures that it's best to target the master of the Shikigami in a fight in that situation. She's terrified to feel a hint of negative aura coming from him. Anyway, he waits for the rest of them to be introduced. The third type is a mysterious job, with minimal information available on it. It's the one that our boy has, the type called Order Breaker. The problem with the individuals bearing this type is that each of them have different abilities. The Blue Lotus Tenma differs from Awakeners who can shift size or even create shadow clones because Naruto's here too. Skills possessed under each job category are ranked from C to S in 4 pyramids of strength, but Order Breakers are classified as having Z category skills, different from the rest. It's because the Order Breaker class is treated with respect because of their unique skills, and the moment an opponent figures out an Order Breaker's ability, they lose their biggest advantage. It's the very reason Mendu, her father, insisted against Ageha inquiring about our boy's abilities. Tenma's irregular among Order Breakers too, because from her personal confirmation, she saw him utilize 3 different skills, 2 of them related to elementalists. Tenma's starting to get a little bummed out that she keeps talking about him, so he directly inquires about the 4th kind of job that he hasn't seen. This one, she refuses to mention a word about, calling it punishment for this man keeping everything to himself. Before leaving, Ageha asks about his intentions from here on, and learns that Tenma will spam clear the same advanced stage more and more. She reminds his dumbass that stages have their own cooldown periods, so he won't be able to access it for at least 2 days. It's a real hindrance that cooldowns exist, and he hadn't even considered them at all. This is why Reiji keeps them for himself. and since our boy can't upgrade his piercing orb, he figures he could at least upgrade Lotus Burst instead. So he asks for a different stage with an even higher number of disaster beasts. Walmart Makizinen remembers there being one, though the level of disaster beasts isn't too high. It's got a shit ton of monsters. They're a swarm of giant locusts, at least 100 of them. The stage is a real pain in the ass without possessing a wide-range skill, so she warns him against the attempt, not knowing our boy already has the explosive detonation skill Lotus Burst. He disregards continuous warnings, while the others express shock after hearing him planning to conquer the locust stage. They're already shivering that Reiji will arrive to seek his revenge soon, and want to leave before that happens. Speaking of that scumbag, he ends up reaching the same spot, only to realize their target has escaped to another location. It's hard to believe that someone managed to clear the stage in the short time they had. Reiji's blood boils, and he thinks this mysterious offender is intentionally fucking with him. He orders his agents to look for traces of mana and to contact someone called Hound for the job. He wants Tenma alive so that he could personally offer him a taste of torturous hell. Bro thinks this shit is so tough. In a different area, a poor awakener is barely clinging to his life. He's being hunted by Hound, a subordinate of Reiji, and even after using his escape jutsu, he ends up being discovered by the gaping wild beast. The creature rips him in his mouth while Reiji's other agent comes to retrieve him. The guy in his mouth is still alive, by the way, questioning how they managed to track him down. This person's pet dog over here has an excellent sense of smell, tracking any target down with ease. The man is known as Charles the Hound, and he has come to eliminate his target on behalf of Reiji. The poor guy pleads for his life, but Charles mercilessly allows his wolf to feast upon the human's flesh. After his death, they experience a level up at last. Charles calls to report mission status, confirming the kill, but to his shock, learns about Takeru's heavily sustained injuries. Considering it an important matter, he is signaled to Reiji's location, happy that a new prey has appeared. Tenma arrives inside near the stage, questioning why there are so many locusts in the first place. Agcha explains that certain monsters like certain environments, which is why one of the skills of an awakener is to be well informed of their terrain. Advanced stages don't even have a proper receptionist because of how dangerous they can be. Tenma wonders why this level is completely shut down, considering it's only level 13 at best. The good thing about a normal stage is that you can exit it if you find it difficult, but when it comes to these locusts, escape literally becomes impossible. A single mistake rips you to shreds because of the locust swarm. Awakeners are eaten alive for breakfast. It's so brutal only their bones remain. But this kind of thing doesn't scare our boy. He's just happy to find the perfect playground to hunt a ton of monsters. Ageha thinks he's a goddamn idiot for that, but Tenma's got his goals and confidently steps inside the stage. She's worried if whatever she told him will even be enough, before realizing that she forgot to mention one key detail, that the locusts literally spawn an infinite number of times until the boss is defeated. Having made such a huge error, Ageha wants to invade the stage level to warn him, but then she senses an ominous presence. It's Charles the Hound who glares at her with devilish eyes, requesting to look for someone. The scene cuts off and takes us to Tenma's experience inside the stage. Clapping his hands, he playfully wakes up the annoying bugs so that he can kill them over and over. Their levels are so pathetic, a mere level 1, but their quantity makes this stage worth it. With more than 100 covering the sky, Tenma casts his Lotus Burst technique, while at the same time guarding himself with black ice armor. His goal is to let these bastards swarm him from every direction, and just when they feel confident, he'll detonate. Tenma activates Lotus Burst at a precise moment, obliterating the bugs all at once. By the end of his attack, they're all dead meat, evolving his Lotus Burst to level 2. Its range has expanded to a whopping 10 meters, double than before. Tenma thinks that monsters of this weak level should net him easy points because they barely consume his mana in any of his skills. If he can spend 10 more shots and kill 100 locusts in each swing, his skill will upgrade by 1,000%. But then he realizes that this stage also must have a cooldown of its own, so his happiness is short-lived. Tenma checks his bracelet, wondering why the stage clear prompt hasn't appeared. Instead, he detects the boss monster's skill called Matriarch's Will, which immediately activates his analysis effect. When Tenma looks around to check for survivors, he watches the dead swarm pulling inside some kind of vortex. Zooming away, Tenma creates distance between them, questioning if this is because of the boss's skill. He let his guard down, and though it's great he can keep evolving his ability, the main issue right now is that he doesn't know about the boss's location. His best strategy right now is to keep annihilating the swarm until the boss eventually exposes itself. Reactivating Lotus Burst, he detonates another explosion, slaughtering another swarm. The range increases to 16 meters, amplifying the explosion even more. With a second wipeout, Tenma curiously wonders why the boss still hasn't appeared. The same dead locusts end up respawning, creating an endless swarm that just doesn't stay down. Unfortunately, Tenma can only stall for 9 more detonations through his ability. He extends his hand a third time, promising to annihilate them every single time they come back. A third explosion massacres the swarm with another kill streak of 100. Tenma keeps on detonating until he increases the burst radius to 54 meters. Now he only has one more shot to go, but these bugs still haven't stopped respawning. The swarm arises again, instilling a sense of panic in Tenma, because he's about to run out of mana and doesn't even have any way of confronting the boss. Though he could easily try to escape the stage, this man is too egotistical to quit. One last time, he declares his intention of massacring the swarm. The Lotus Burst detonates in the largest explosion he's ever casted, fatiguing our boy to his limits. The swarm simply rises back up again, and the analysis progress hasn't completely yet either. It's at this moment that he realizes he really fucked up, because the queen has an infinity breeding ability. That means the only way to win is to kill her, but how will he even do that with 0 mana points? Luckily, his analysis rate reaches total completion, enveloping him in a Lotus domain and adapting to the queen's skill. Tenma acquires a new detection skill to counter her ability with a cheat code passive effect. It's so powerful that he could intentionally leave the boss alive just to farm the locusts as many times as he wants. Unfortunately, Egeha is waiting for him, so he needs to wrap things up. With the skill's activation, his sensory abilities are heightened, mapping out the surrounding area to look for his target. The detector picks up on the queen's signals just underground, which is the only thing Tenma needed. Next, he carves up Hollow Purple, stealing Gojo's swag again, and releases it to decimate the annoying queen. The piercing orb crushes its way underground, forcing the queen to draw out where it is most vulnerable. And here, our boy clocks her with a slashing backshot, ending her life. With the queen dismantled, the swarm is instilled in chaos, but our boy's happy to send them all to hell alongside her. A final detonation wraps up things and kills the locust swarm for good, increasing range to 65 meters. The stage helped him with a ton of skill boosts, and Tenma intends to reuse it and evolve his range even further later on. Achieving a new record of 17 minutes, he exits the stage, worried about Ageha's condition, but also thinks that she might ditch his ass. Tenma actually likes the awkward side of her, but the moment he comes out, he sees Ageha full of cuts and being choked out by Charles. The fact that Tenma came out in one piece is confirmation to the Hound that this is the guy his master is looking for. And yes, don't forget, the One Piece is real. Agitated, Tenma threatens this guy to put his hands off of her, or else he'll kill his ass. Charles thinks the kid is cocky for a level 0 rookie, and in that exact moment, our boy spawns in his freaking face to kill him. Going, "Oh shit, I'm fucked." Charles summons his wolf Shikigami to block the attack. The creature successfully tanks the hit, while over-mimesis kicks in again. Tenma realizes right away that he's dealing with a Shikigami user, while Charles analyzes the situation. The fighter in front of him excellently maneuvered with high speed. It's clear how Takeru lost that fight. But the big leverage Charles has over Takeru is a free hostage situation through the girl. Tenma fears for her life, and getting distracted costs him as the Shikigami jumps in his face. The worst part about the bite force of death is that it can crush any enemy with even high defense stats. To his shock, Charles watches this man erupt with black ice spikes to protect his arm. Tenma even uses his other arm to charge up a lethal kill shot. The piercing sphere annihilates the Shikigami with a single hit, killing it immediately. Now that he has killed death itself, his next target is Charles, who should be way easier to deal with. The experienced Awakener realizes that this rookie is unaware of a Shikigami user's respawning effect. Death has a B rank ability called Respawn Desire, decreasing its respawn time immensely. Tenma's distracted, so the creature tries to attack him with its gaping sharp teeth, but no worries, because Mana Sense already predicted this outcome. Tenma retaliates easily, stopping the monster once more. His analysis skill is slowly approaching completion, but if the Lotus appears in front of Charles, it might give him free information about his ability. Charles himself is having a mental breakdown dealing with a guy with both immense speed and strength alongside a bunch of other hacks. His only leverage is Ageha, so he chokes her enough to prevent her from saying harder daddy and threatens to kill her in front of Tenma. Our boy wanted to complete the analysis without spawning the Lotus, but things are going in a different direction. With its completion, he earns the counter skill called Shikigami Eater, a unique power with the effect of taking control of another user's Shikigami by touching it once. This is an excellent counter, but because our boy intentionally cancelled out the Lotus spawning effect of his skill, he didn't get any auto-recovery effects. That's the price for skipping it. The good thing is that he's currently uninjured, so he doesn't need it anyway. First things first, he tests his Shikigami Eater spell on the approaching monster. Activating its essence, he slaps the Shikigami's head, manipulating the strings of its control before kicking the creature away with enormous speed. Charles watches his monster get obliterated again, calling the poor thing a useless mutt. He threatens to break Ageha's neck, but she doesn't even care about herself in this situation. Tenma throws up his hands in absolute cinema fashion to save her life. Charles is happy that the kid is being obedient to prevent any further trouble, but the part that's bugging our boy is why he's being targeted in the first place. Charles thinks he's playing dumb when he's the one who instigated everything. He decides to spill the tea of his mission details, revealing how Reiji is pissed off ever since the mysterious Awakener stole his advanced stages. That's why he recruited Charles to finish him off. Hearing Reiji's name for the millionth time bugs Tenma, who thinks the two of them really need to have a talk in private. Charles assures him that they're already headed in that direction, since he's going to use his pet dog to cut off our boy's legs. And this time, if he uses defensive ice, Charles will snap Ageha's neck. He gives the monster an order to torture his prey, not knowing that the turns have been tabled as the creature bites down its former master. Ageha's balloons are secured by Tenma's thunderwave speed. The hunter fails to comprehend why the Shikigami is attacking him, while Tenma praises his new pet. He's not quite done serving justice for what this bastard did to Ageha's rack, Ageha herself. The hunter has now become the hunted, as he pleads for mercy, even offering to hunt down Reiji for this guy. Tenma scoffs at the shitty proposal, while Charles psychotically unleashes one final attempt to end the rookie's life. His blade grazes Tenma's side, as he signals his new pet to kill Charles's bitch ass in the same way he tortured Ageha. I can't help but remember that one iconic scene from Game of Thrones involving Ramsay's pathetic ending. The Shikigami stares its meal down, as the once ruthless hunter whines like a pathetic animal. Death opens its jaw wide and ultimately ends Charles's life, bringing satisfaction to Tenma. While this is happening, he calls out the person secretly watching their fight from their comfortable hiding spot, and urges them to reveal themselves. The spy is caught and exposes himself, but Tenma's still got that bloodlust mode on, so he immediately asks if this dude is also affiliated with Charles. The guy frantically clarifies that it's nothing like that, but Tenma genuinely doesn't have time to spare. He tasks Death to finish up eating and return to him. The Shikigami devours Charles and eventually fades. Even a berserk dog like Death is able to obey Tenma's commands. The blonde fellow is now confident that our boy can help him. Iberia shares his name, praising Tenma for his super sick moves back there. He already knows him as the guy who took down Takaru, and he has a proposal for Tenma in exchange for karma stones and weapons. Rejecting all of those offers, our boy simply walks away, ignoring him. Not a single Awakener could do what he did just now for the reward he could have gotten. A specific type of reward always fits a specific person's situation, just as a blade would benefit an Avenger and medicine would heal the injured. This sparks an idea inside Iberia's head, as he's got the perfect reward for the situation. He understands that Tenma can't speed Blitz right now because Ageha is already injured, and by the time he gets her to the hospital, she'll bleed out and die. To remedy his pain, Iberia whips out a healing item. It's a mystical scroll that actually stops Tenma from walking away. He turns back, his face genuinely showing signs of relief for his friend's safety. This item is promising enough to save her life, so they put her down and wrap her melons with the material. The item is a rare artifact crafted by two different materials from the Shadow and Wood Spirit clans. The rookie has no idea what an artifact is, so Iberia explains their logic. Modern weapons of humanity don't do crap against creatures of destruction, especially guns. The good thing about crafters is that they can forge new weapons using monolith or disaster beast parts. These crafted items are called artifacts. They're ranked in 4 rarity classes, ranging from common to rare, epic, and unique. Common artifacts are your average basic weapons, capable of hurting ordinary disaster beasts and awakeners like the longsword. Rare artifacts boost the user's stats like an aqua blade. An epic artifact, and mind you, this red blood sword is cool as heck, end up boosting stats and provide special effects. Finally, the one to topple them all, ranking the highest category, is the unique class. These come with unique skills, such as the Holy Sword. Crafters can't be compared to fighters, but they're hard to find. The Awakeners are always indebted to them for their excellent work. Tenma pieces together that this guy's father is a crafter. In fact, he's not your average crafter either. Across the 5 continents, only 10 unique artifacts have ever been produced. And guess what? This guy's pops produced 3 of those freaking artifacts, earning him the Artisan King of the North. I didn't know Truck-kun isekai'd Jon Snow in here too, but our boy doesn't even give a single crap, turning towards an object of his own interest. He inspects the crossbow he picked up from Charles. It's an artifact too. Iberia is stunned that even after that amazing story, this dude didn't even give a damn about his pops. The crossbow is a rare artifact. Unfortunately, there isn't any ammo, but Iberia explains that some weapons generate their own ammo. To Tenma's shock, the weapon vanishes in thin air. This is also another quality of certain artifacts, who are soul-bound to owners and end up automatically returning to a subspace dimension. Tenma finds this information neat and thanks this guy for healing Ageha, saving her life. He's indebted to him for any favors in the future, and intends to personally handle Reiji after this. Iberia thinks it's a seriously reckless idea to go and challenge Reiji all alone, but Tenma isn't in the mood to argue and doesn't get the deal. The good thing is that both Iberia and our boy have the same target. Even though Reiji didn't exactly piss him off, Iberia suggests that the two of them team up in the upcoming Savior Alliance tournament qualifiers. Tenma remembers the tournament, recalling how only the top 10 qualified candidates make it to the main tournament. That's also why he's been spamming advanced stages non-stop, to prepare himself until the test. However, he doesn't get what it has anything to do with their target. Iberia reveals that the qualifiers are held individually by continents, and as the son of the chief, Reiji is expected to partake in this event alongside his older brother. If neither of them end up cutting top 10 positions, the Kinoshita family's name will be dragged through the mud. It's the very reason he's seizing control of all the stages for his own personal advantage. Tenma questions why he's receiving so much help from the blonde awakener, while Iberia shares that he genuinely admires him and believes in his own instincts that they'll both pass. Tenma still doesn't get why this guy is trying to rush for the tournament right now, prompting the warrior to look for a deeper reason. Iberia shares that he saw his father work on his crafts since he was a little boy, so he admires his father a lot. His ultimate dream has been to become an awakener, to fight monsters with the tools his father made. Unfortunately, even after awakening, Iberia's father refused to make him a proper artifact, calling him unworthy to deserve his crafts. Despite the endless beginning, the man didn't flinch and told his son to pass the qualifiers if he wanted a weapon. That's why he shares an intense desire to clear the initial qualifiers no matter what. Hearing all of that, Tenma understands that the crafter's son must have a long list of people waiting to team up with him, so there's really no reason why he picked a level 0 guy. Apparently, the master artisan installed a condition, stating that if Iberia ends up being carried by an overpowered teammate, then he's not gonna give him shit. Basically, bro's got your average strict Asian dad with a lot of expectations and 0 shortcuts. One other problem is that the strong contestants have already been tipped off by Rage, leaving loners or pre-made parties. Since he's got no one to rely on, Tenma is his best bet, the same man who obliterated the powerful Takeru and even defeated Charles just now. In the end, after a multitude of questions, our boy eventually agrees to team up with him, but his immediate worry is getting Ageha to a hospital. Iberia is so happy that he's already deciding on a team name, yapping his ass off with several naming combinations. Bro's a true homeboy, but he just doesn't shut up. Remembering his old school friends, Tenma wonders if Rimu and Saya will also join the qualifiers. In the next scene, we witness Rimu sneezing out of nowhere. He assumes that his buddy Tenma must be remembering him or something. The name genuinely makes Saya concerned for Tenma's condition. She's hoping that he's surviving well. Rimu teases the shit out of her for having feelings for him, causing her to hit him with her water ability. He taunts her for using a dirty cheap shot, but in her view, sparring doesn't care about sneaky attacks as long as there are openings. Watching them from a distance is their master, a cyborg who is hell-bent on training them properly for the qualifiers. Saya has already reached level 11, while Rimu is stuck at 10. Both are elementalists looking to face off against other awakeners soon. The scene cuts to Reiji's bitch face again, who is starting to get irritated that the Hound hasn't reported back. It pisses him off that they're all useless, while his agent suggests sending a search party. Reiji doesn't care, and highlights the qualifiers taking top priority, because his pops will beat his dumbass if he doesn't make the cut this year. By the way, this guy has already bought nearly 800 contestants, bribing them for the cooperation. All of them are level 5 and above. Reiji likes the fact that his agent is reliable compared to the others, and goes on to consume the last stone to level up his stats. He stands at an average level 12 thinking he's the top dog, and wields lightning as his element. In the next scene, we find our boy apologizing to his master for failing to save Ageha in time. The Northern Commander entertains the idea of killing Reiji with ease, but Tenma doesn't want that, and begs him to leave him alone. Mendu understands and is interested in asking about the details some other time. Iberia, on the other hand, can't even believe his eyes. The Northern Commander is out here acting buddy-buddy with Tenma. At his side, Tenma proclaims his interest in entering the qualifiers tournament, and the commander is okay with that decision. Ageha appears to be holding up well. Her butterfly healed her in the process. Even Iberia helped them out with a rare artifact, inspiring the Northern Commander's interest in him. Mendu knows about the boy's affiliation with the craftsman, stunning his expectations. Iberia decides to maintain his father's dignity and gives off a cool-ass aura farming declaration stating that he's Aiden's father. Yes, you heard that right. This clown accidentally massacred that sentence, disappointing the 3 people, embarrassing the shit out of him. Negative aura aside, Mendu is glad that the kid helped save his daughter and even intends to pay proper respect to Iberia's father after the tournament. With the qualifiers around the corner, he suggests both of them to train, as he's anticipating much from them. Tenma and Iberia are confident in their victory, while Ageha is shocked by her father's vested interest in our boy as of late. The thing about Tenma is that he's got some Batman levels of childhood trauma, which is why he is merciless against monsters. But that same dark impulse of his weakens around the people he cares about. That's one other reason Mendu wants his daughter to stay by his side, to become a person that he values, enough to protect. Aside from that, remember that skeleton soldier that popped up at Tenma's school at the start? Turns out it wasn't a fluke but a proper planned attack. Traitors among humans are increasing, and there have been attacks on other commanders too. Mendu strongly believes that humanity is headed for destruction even now, but Tenma is the stopping force that might be able to cull that gap, becoming a ray of hope for all. We arrive in District Level 4 at last. The tournament is about to begin. Tenma didn't expect so many people to pop up here, but obviously Mendu's presence alone dragged the attention of a giant crowd, boosting participant numbers up to 5,000. This is bad news for Reiji because now he has lesser participants that work under him, but his agent thinks it's no big deal. He's already made sure to wrap red bands around the participants that are working under them, making it easy to identify. It looks strange to Saya and Rimu as well. Acting as the main supervisor, Saoryu Fujiwara initiates rule explanation. The area is divided into two parts. One is external, and the other is an internal arena. The first stage will begin from the 4 towers of the external region. Contestants are expected to fight their way the best they can to reach the internal region. The moment they enter here, their rank will be recorded and installed upon their bracelet. Only the top 500 from the batch of 5,000 will be able to pass. Seiya is a little worried that practically 4,500 people will be wiped in the first round alone. Each contestant can flexibly carry 2 weapons or tools at disposal. Anything works. Iberia points towards Reiji's direction, who is hiding behind his bribed awakeners. He already knows that this douchebag bought the participants and they'll blitz everyone to get to the internal region first. But ignoring everything he said, Tenma fearlessly walks up to the Four Eyes ketchup-haired stickman. The first stage commences right off, with the examiner Fujiwara expecting much from the youth. A hotter version of Toji thinks that quality matters over quality. This guy's heighten and his stats are yet to be revealed. Back then, he and Jin were the only two who bulldozed the competition. Heighten desperately hopes that there's someone like that among the Awakeners who dazzles everyone. But that kind of genius doesn't appear easily, so Fujiwara has low expectations. Heighten recalls the rumor of a boy beating a level 8 monster right after awakening, and turns to ask Mendu if it's true. The Northern Commander confirms this, prompting them to question if the same guy is also partaking in the tournament. Fujiwara is curious to wonder what kind of person he is, so he scans down a list of options from the school. Both Rimu and Saya are eliminated from his guesses, leaving Hana Hanyu, a wood specialist with a crazy level 16. She seems like a prodigy, but Mendu's lack of answer indicates that all those guesses are false, even though Hanyu is the top rank here. Heighten interestingly asks about any level 0s around. There's at least one every year, who ends up getting smashed by the competition. Speaking of a level 0, Reiji ridicules the rookie trying to challenge him, not knowing this is the same guy who mopped the floor with 2 of his bodyguards. The moment our boy whips out Charles's crossbow, his face drops in shock. Tenma understands that this clown has been looking for him, while Reiji is ticked off by his insulting tone. Taking him for a rage baiter and nothing more, he signals his lackeys to jump our boy. Saying so, Reiji leaps off and goes to target the internal region. Now Tenma is left with a bunch of people that are all higher level than him. Heighten can't fathom how a level 0 is going to challenge multiple level 6 and 7s like that. Iberia is not liking the situation either, fearing that they'll get overwhelmed by 4 assailants. He's already prepared to use his trump card in a citation like this. One of the goons tries to provoke our boy, prompting Tenma to order him to move. Such a harmless comment makes this dude burst out in laughter, because anyone would think the kid is just a hotshot who talks big. Heighten actually likes Tenma's brave personality, and intends to jump in if he's about to die. The same goon tries to meddle with him again, only to get smashed in the face with a single punch, as Tenma reminds him to move. Heighten can't even fathom how this kid managed to insta-kill an opponent who is far superior to him in level. The surrounding fighters intend to incinerate the looming threat while Iberia can't even defend his friend. With an attack so massive, the rest of them believe that the rookie has to be cooked after that. But this man doesn't even get a scratch and impresses everyone with successful defense. His defense stats for Black Ice are shooting up for each successful attempt. They can't believe he blocked using the water element, while Tenma dares them to try the same move again. Insulted, this guy repeats his B-rank flamethrower skill at full intensity. Meanwhile, our boy just stands there and thanks the entire hit. The fire elementalist expunged so much of his flames that he even suffered backlash and drained all his mana. He thinks this move is going to be the end of Tenma, but this man appears unscathed using a gauntlet of black ice, having made new discoveries. The rest of the group is now in genuine trouble, because not even the strongest attack posed any damage. They hit him with numerous fireball strikes, but again, nothing injures him at all. Then they switch approaches to drain his mana. But this man closes the gap and speed blitzes them immediately. In a contest of strength, he obliterates another Awakener, defeating another one. The final 2 are Lightning Warriors. For these guys, he even warns them that they won't be able to escape. But the idiots go on ahead to activate dual skills anyway. Heighten can't believe he's witnessing one level 0 guy massacre an entire team. With all of them down, Iberia commends his teammate for being incredible. No one believes he's level 0 at all, but Iberia reminds the arena that he and his partner will be the best of the best the tournament has ever seen. Reiji is on his way thinking about the crossbow, when suddenly he watches another awakener pass by him, only to get zapped like Hassan's dog. Reiji reminds this dog of his place, that no one's supposed to pass him. He gathers the rest of his lackeys and orders them to stay together. The examiners watch his arrogance on full display as the young master of the Kinoshita family. Unfortunately, nothing is against the rules, so they can't intervene, while Reiji is fully confident in his victory in this tournament. Suddenly, Bro hears someone calling out his name. It's none other than the dynamic duo from earlier. Tenma survived the team, which makes him question how on earth this guy managed to do that. He calls our boy level 0 trash, but Tenma doesn't mind, and Reiji doesn't want to fight him head-on, so he signals another large group of 100 warriors to keep them busy. Tenma is happy to take them head-on and covers Iberia's ears, before dashing with lightning-fast speed, slamming Reiji off his rocker. This is his way of telling the bastard that he's going to settle the score, and he won't be letting his prey escape until that happens. Seiya and Rimu are having trouble but end up reaching the inner circle. Ui and Ahagami are 3rd and 2nd place respectively. Hanyu sits at the top, dominating the leaderboard. She's out of their league, but Iberia actually ends up reaching 6th place shortly after spouting Tenma's name. The man of the hour is still on the battlefield, intending to farm a party of 100 instead of just heading towards the completion zone. Even the examiners can't tell what this guy's deal is. Heighten is starting to wonder if this man might actually cook all of them. Reiji considers our boy a pest who has become an eyesore he can't ignore anymore. But it's 100 men against 1, so the odds are clearly not in our boy's favor. Tenma's top priority is avenging Ageha. The tournament be damned. The onslaught begins as the army of awakeners charges at him, but our boy doesn't even flinch and takes down the first assailant, one shooting the first dude. The rest of them are starting to doubt his level 0 status, while Tenma activates Lotus Burst to send the battlefield to oblivion. The whole world is watching his skills right now, even those who have already completed the zone. The examiner can't believe the insane radius of the detonation, while Ageha is impressed by his recent evolution. But this man's only goal right now is the punk who started a beef with him. He just insta-killed 100 party members, so Reiji is all that's left. Tenma walks up to him, as this guy still has the audacity to assume he can win this fight just by shouting really hard. He unleashes his ultimate move, the Thunder Cannon. Tenma initiates the analysis process and gut punches this man to the ground, reducing him to a lowly insect. Reiji begs his assistant to save his life, who willingly breaks the rules and enters the tournament. He's actually a level 35 awakener, so Heighten is interested in taking him out immediately for invading. Our boy can tell that someone is approaching at high speed, but it's more than one person. The agent was about to get him when Heighten smashed him to the ground, urging Tenma to continue where he left off. Tenma stares down the dog who pleads for his life, but before he can finish his sob story, Bro pulverizes his head, finally avenging Ageha, his waifu. The analysis process is paused by him so he can save it for later, but a peculiar voice draws his attention. Seiya and his friends welcome him to come inside. She's out here ovulating for this man after watching him massacre those awakeners. And that's how he reached the inner zone in 7th place. Iberia and Rimu are having some serious bro-level beef. Both want to claim their top spot as Tenma's ultimate buddy. They yap at each other, ridiculing and rage-baiting to the best of their abilities. The examiner concludes the first stage, and explains that the contestants are supposed to fight monsters in the second stage for 1 hour straight. This is the more exciting level, as all 7 remarkable contestants welcome their next challenge. They arrive at the venue, all of them are curious, while Saya and Rimu want to know everything about our boy's ability. The examiners instruct the candidates to get ready, this time meeting them closer alongside the rest of the famous figures. The test will consist of hunting down beasts and killing them based on difficulty points. Defeating a monster will ensue a timeout cooldown for 1 minute. This makes Gaku Ui want to hunt down the top-level monsters right away. Curious, Tenma raises his voice to ask a question, inquiring if the Nightmare class is truly the highest difficulty. Most of them there don't think he's half as powerful to take down a threat like that, but Fujiwara reveals that there's no upper limit to Nightmare-level creatures. They're all different, so it's useless to even think about. Today's performance will also be regarded in their future consideration to become a top-level savior, so it's important to score well. Recalling Jin's score of 115,000, our boy has set his sights to surpass humanity's greatest. The contestants enter the trial grounds, commencing the start of the test. The first few monsters are trash, so Tenma activates his ice skill to end them quickly to move to the next stage of difficulty. Heighten is the only one who is thrilled to watch his every move. Even now, he watches the kid obliterate the horde of dogs in a single second. This is why Heighten likes him, but Fujiwara surely thinks that the level 8 monster Tenma's facing next is going to give him a tough time. It's obvious for anyone to struggle at that level, but Mendu doesn't want these guys to focus on his student, so he shifts the conversation to ask about the other students. They're all doing fine. The only person giving Tenma competition is Hanyu herself. As for Tenma's fight, Bro takes the flames like he always does and emerges scratchless. He cuts down the creature in a single slash, one shooting it in 5 seconds and earning 500 points. Heighten wonders why he didn't just kill the monster immediately, while Tenma is focused on honing his defense stats, which is why he's tanking every hit. The next obstacle is an Aleki Rhino. It's a harder monster worth 1,000 points. Even a single hit is going to instantly paralyze you. Winning against such a creature requires relentless speed, but Tenma casually goes up to it, even expressing interest in the horn. The Rhino slams him away, but this man feels nothing. He keeps on giving his audience a show. Thanks to enduring that hit, his personal stats boost again. Now it's time to end the fight, so Tenma lunges right in and kills the creature within 7 seconds. Fujiware creates suspense for the next monster, as it's even more fearsome than the last with absurd attack and defense. This creature is considered one of the most ferocious disaster beasts in the preliminaries. This is the Nightmare class Purgatory Giant. But all that glazing does nothing when Tenma one-shots it with his piercing orb, even posing nonchalantly after the kill. He's done playing with his toys and asks the examiners to send in the next Nightmare class monster. Saya Hisagi uses her power to pierce the monster straight through its mouth, planning to annihilate the remaining 2 monsters so she can finally advance to the normal class. As she prepares herself, her system notifies her that she is close to clearing the beginner class. Elsewhere, Gaku Uwe is confident that he will be the first to reach the normal class, while Hana Hanyu decides to recover his mana before proceeding to the next level. Suddenly, the system blares an announcement. The Nightmare class has been cleared by someone ranked 21st, and in record time. The message shakes all of them. Saya instantly becomes certain that the one who did it must be Tenma. On the other hand, the 4 of them are left in complete amazement upon learning that he managed to instantly kill a level 15 Purgatory Giant. Curious to see how far he can truly go, they decide to raise the difficulty of the challenge. As our boy checks his stats, disappointment washes over him. He had been expecting something extraordinary, but all he received were a few additional points. Unsatisfied, he decides to take down one of the monsters. With just a single attack, he pierces it using his sphere, taking it down instantly. Once again, they are left wondering what exactly the sphere is, and whether it even has a limit. Heighten notices that the scale is filled almost entirely with strength, but at the same time, it carries a major flaw. Meanwhile, our boy now faces a beast whose speed surpasses that of any monster he has encountered before. Heighten explains that Purgatory Giants are often mistaken for being slow due to their massive size, but in reality, they are incredibly fast. He further explains that because their species contains no mana, their other stats are dramatically enhanced in exchange. The beast manages to dodge every shot our boy throws at it, purely because of its overwhelming speed. This is when Heighten realizes the flaw he noticed earlier. The black spheres can inflict devastating damage, but their flight speed is slower than that of high-level monsters. Still, he observes that Tenma understands battlefield tactics well, as he uses the habit of a Purgatory Giant's scream as an opening before launching his attack. However, he also concludes that if our boy cannot increase the speed of the black sphere, he won't be able to advance any further. On the other side, our boy begins to struggle as the fight drags on, realizing that the monster can easily dodge attacks launched from mid-range. Fujihara grows worried, thinking that if our boy continues relying solely on the black sphere without any countermeasures, it would mean he has no other techniques left. To their surprise, however, Tenma suddenly starts smiling. He has cracked the code, figuring out how to strike ahead of the monster instead of chasing it. Both of them rush toward each other to launch an attack. The monster swings its massive fist and slams it toward our boy, cracking the entire arena upon impact. Instantly, the staff begins calling the rescue team, knowing that an electric rhino attack is no joke. But soon everyone realizes that the attack never hit him. The monster looks around in confusion, unable to locate its target. From behind, our boy strikes the monster with his black sphere, completely blowing away its face. The battle ends within just 12 seconds. Ageha is unable to believe that Tenma managed to defeat a giant monster so decisively. When the others, Izumi and Fujihara, turn towards her, they notice how worried she looks. A rare sight indeed. She hurriedly tries to brush it off, claiming that she was simply praying for everyone's safety, and that she would have reacted the same way even if it were someone else. Her excessive explanations only make them think that she has recently become strangely extroverted. The old geezer turns back to Heighten, wondering why Tenma had been dodging attacks instead of countering head-on. Heighten explains that the protagonist's speed is actually comparable to that of a Purgatory Giant. Once electricity starts flowing through his body, his speed increases drastically, and with that skill active, a Purgatory Giant cannot land a hit on him. Delighted, the old geezer declares that the protagonist truly deserves first place. However, our boy has no intention of stopping. His goal is to surpass the strongest human, Jin Taewa, and taking a break now would only mean losing progress. Without hesitation, he continues fighting the Purgatory monsters one after another. The old geezer recalls that even Heighten managed to reach Phase 4 in a single run. Heighten clarifies that he only managed to get there, and no further. Even so, they acknowledge that Heighten himself had his limit at Phase 3. With that thought lingering, they continue watching our boy as he relentlessly fights on. Tenma then devises a strategy to take down the second monster, and his plan succeeds flawlessly. For the third one, however, his approach is entirely different. He willingly allows himself to be eaten by the monster, only to rip it apart from the inside. Our hero clears the Purgatory Giants in just 13 seconds. Fujihara is left shocked witnessing the skill that wiped out tons of participants in the first stage. Our hero's mana is all used up, but as long as the disaster beast keeps spawning, his passive effect of mana sense will refill his tank. Right then, the Nightmare class Phase 4 begins, and 4 Purgatory Giants stand before our hero. Thanks to his passive skill, his mana is recovered by 40%. If our protagonist clears Phase 4, he'll surpass Heighten's old self, and no one aside from Jin Taewa has been able to clear it, which makes Heighten even more curious to see our hero's limits. Every time the flight speed of his skill piercing the true sphere increases, the accuracy adds up too. So, if Tenma boosts the speed a few more times, he can easily land the attacks without getting closer to his enemy. However, with only a limited amount of mana, Tenma needs to make every single one of his attacks count. Suddenly, the Purgatory Giant throws out chains from everywhere and restrains our hero from moving. The giant smacks his fist into the ground and grabs our hero in his fists. Our hero realizes he doesn't have any leverage, and to make things worse, the giant crushes the bones in his body and throws him back onto the ground. Seeing our hero lying injured and bleeding in battle, Fujihara hurries Heighten to help him. Heighten is surprised, wondering if this is where our hero's power hits the ceiling, and sees his old self in him. He rushes to help the fighter when Izumi stops him from behind, saying that Tenma still has some fight left in him. Everyone tries to argue with Izumi that now's not the time to discuss Tenma's ability to fight because if they don't save him, he will die. However, Izumi stands firm, believing that our hero still has his ace. Fujihara is surprised how Izumi knows, and he explains that he can tell by our hero's eyes. That gaze is not of someone who has accepted death. Our protagonist stands before the Purgatory Giant, refusing to die in battle after everything he's done. During the fight with Reiji Kinoshita, Over-Mimesis activated his skill, but our hero stopped the analysis right before it finished, and all that was for a moment like this. Our hero resumes his analysis, and it instantly completes. Suddenly, Ageha cheers up seeing the fighter's blue lotus. Fujihara wonders what use the lotus is in this state, and Heighten wonders what's going on with Ageha. Our hero's Thunderwave skill activates. Its active effect absorbs B rank or lower lightning attacks into the body, and releasing absorbed lightning energy increases the agility by 100%. With this skill, our hero fully restores his health and quits playing around. Fujihara is surprised to see our protagonist suddenly heal up faster than a dedicated healer after he was beaten up so badly. He can't believe that this fighter has so many skills. Tenma pierces through the Purgatory Giants in an instant and clears Phase 4 in 31 seconds. Our hero stands confident that no matter how many giants come at him now, he won't lose. Right then, a giant attacks him from above, and he shoots the giant, killing it in an instant. Our hero's flight speed increases by 2700% as he continues to kill the giants. He clears Phase 5 in less than a minute, and then Phase 6 in a minute and a half. Watching Tenma effortlessly kill the Purgatory Giants and clear all the phases, the spectators' jaws drop on the floor. They can't understand if the real monster is him or the Purgatory Giants. Our hero sits waiting for more Purgatory Giants, but none spawn. Fujihara, still in shock, hits the microphone and tells Tenma that he wiped out every single Purgatory Giant they had in stock. Our hero is surprised that he beat all the Purgatory Giants because he didn't know there was a difficulty cap. After losing count of kills in the battle, he wonders how many he killed. Since our protagonist can't level up, the experience from the disaster beasts he killed drops as karma stones instead. Fujihara is surprised to see a karma stone in the testing ground, and seeing its blue color, he knows it holds at least 10,000 experience points. Izumi explains that our hero can't absorb experience, so his XP is transformed into karma stones instead. Right then, our hero walks through the gate, and Fujihara welcomes him with praises of his potential. He invites Tenma to come with him, promising him a good instructor. Our hero politely refuses the offer because he already has a teacher. Fujihara tries to convince him, arguing that some random instructor can't handle a talent like him, and only someone with connections and resources can benefit him. Hetten tells the old man to stop pestering the young talent, otherwise he'll just dislike him. The old man tries to get Hetten to convince our hero because they can't let someone ruin his talent. Right then, our hero thanks Heighten, and the old man's face turns to shock when Heighten mentions he didn't mind helping Izumi's student. Fujihara is shocked that the young talent is Izumi's student. He now understands Tenma's talent. Izumi checks up on his student for any injuries, but seeing how he was hyped up to challenge Phase 7, she knows he's not hurt. Our hero tells his master that he's not injured but his stamina has run out, but assures him that he can recover after a short break. Fujihara now understands the young talent's skills. Izumi's other students also wiped out all the disaster beasts in the second stage too. Our hero asks if Tewa also made it to phase 6, but the old man explains that back then they only had phase 4 max. When it wasn't enough, they increased it to 8 this time, but expanded it to phase 6 after that. Izumi then leads his student to watch as the other participants enter the second stage. Meanwhile, Rimi grows too tired after finishing a hard class and finds the nightmare class impossible to pass and gives up. Sei already tried her best and suffocated the monsters in a giant water sphere. With her mana nearly out, she also finds the next level too impossible and gives up. Our hero is surprised to see them already out because he expected more from them. Fujihara reminds him that most participants can't even clear normal class, and with how quickly they defeated the electric rhino, he's confident they'll land in the top 10. However, the two fighters haven't come out after giving up because leaving the testing ground is not permitted unless critically injured. On the other hand, the other participants make it to the nightmare class. Hayton feels confident that Gaku Ue will be able to take down at least one purgatory giant with his rare artifact. But for Shion Akagami, who's a Shikigami user, making it this far shows her commitment to the fight. Shion transforms into a giant monster and hits the giant with a powerful punch. Our hero is surprised that Shikigami can change into different forms and wonders if Ageha's jade butterfly can do that too. However, Ageha tells him that she can't do it, and this is her first time seeing a transformation. Shikigami have different varieties, and their abilities are a mystery, and she advises our hero to be careful if he ever encounters a Shikigami. Our hero now realizes how strong Shikigamis are, and decides to give all the XP drops to the black dog he stole from Charles from now on. With Saya and Rimu already out, our Tenma sees no point in staying and decides to leave. Right then, Ibra grabs his attention, and he's shocked to see his armor. The epic dragon gear is the strongest artifact Iberia's dad left for him. The artifact has a will of its own and chooses its master. Ibera went through hell to obtain the armor, and with it his stats go up every minute. However, if he wears it longer than 15 minutes, he will be hit with a penalty, so he has to finish it before that. As Ibera faces off against the Purgatory Giants, he knows the announcement about Nightmare class being cleared was from Tenma. He tries to do his best to not drag down his friend because the two of them together are double. Ibera jumps at the giant, breaking through its armor, and with it, the second stage ends. Fujihara announces that only the top 10 with the highest points will advance to the national tournament main event. The top 2 will receive special rewards. Gaku feels confident that no one other than Hanyu would have more points than him, and he will get that special reward. Fujihara proceeds to announce the top 10, and everyone's shocked to see the leaderboards. Everyone is surprised to see our hero score over 100,000 points, because even Jin Taewa only scored 60,000. They know he can easily take first place in the nation with that score. Each Purgatory Giant is only 5,000 points per kill, and Rimu wonders how many our hero killed to earn his ridiculous score. However, Ghana can't believe he got third place, and some guy he's never heard of has scored so much. Seiya feels upset seeing the gap between Tenma and her power, and she feels that she's not made for a combat job. Fujihara announces that the provincial qualifiers are over, and Tenma leads the national rankings on top with a lead of 65,000 points. Ibara can't see his father's face, but he knows that he's happy. He cheers for his friend taking first place, but he also feels proud of himself for not shaming the name of Double One. The 21st Savior Alliance National Tournament qualifiers are concluded, and our hero carries his friend out after a tough battle. Meanwhile, in the South Continent District 1, a fighter is annoyed to come out so early to watch some old man meditate. His friend cautions him to be careful because the old man in front of him is the commander of the South Continent who can predict the future. However, the fighter wonders why they only get notified after the barriers are deployed every time, because if Bargar can predict the future, he should be able to tell where the monoliths will fall in advance. Bargar can only predict a small time frame of the future, but the reason he stands beside the heavyweights of humanity like Izumi is because his prophecy is 100% accurate. Suddenly Bargar panics and falls. His followers help him up, and he cries out that the North is in danger. A massive disaster beast is about to attack the northern continent soon, and among them is a disaster beast exceeding level 100. Tenma's stats finally break 1500 points. Normally, each level up adds 50 stat points, so 1500 puts our hero at around level 30 as a normal awakener. Agility and defense can increase infinitely thanks to passive skills, and the mana recovers infinitely with Mana Sense's passive, but the attack power is the only thing our hero has no way of raising, and he wonders if he can. Right then, his friends call him to dinner, and he puts it aside for the moment and decides to figure out a way of getting a skill to boost his attack power later. At the dinner table, our hero finds Ibera missing. Ajiha tells him that she treated him earlier and his wounds are healed, but he was extremely exhausted, so he's still sleeping. Rimu was surprised that Iberia cleared the nightmare class that even he and Saya couldn't beat. Suddenly, Saya is startled seeing something behind. She tells Rimu to look behind him, and a tall figure scares Rimu too. Iberia jumps at the food and starts eating desperately. Rimu scolds him for scaring him and eating at someone else's table. Iberia puts the plate down, which makes Rimu think he wants to fight, but instead, he just takes a sigh after having delicious food. After learning that Rimu made the food, Iberia tells him to quit being an awakener and become a chef instead because he's more expert at that. Right then, Izumi interrupts their meal and asks the saviors what they are afraid of the most. Rimu takes a moment to think about what he's afraid of. His dream is to become a savior and save a lot of money to travel the world and enjoy gourmet food, so his fear is aging. He worries that if he gets old, he won't have the energy to travel the world, and his taste will deteriorate so much that he won't be able to tell the flavors apart. Saya was born into a family of doctors, so she grew up in a hospital. From a young age, she saw so many people suffer from all kinds of diseases. It traumatized her to the point that she feels terrified even when someone has just a normal cold. Our hero now realizes Saya ran away because he sneezed the other day. Izumi tells them that an awakener's life is twice that of a normal person, and they also rarely get sick, so they can let go of their fears now. However, Iberia's fear was not passing the qualifiers, and now that he has, he's afraid of not being able to fight alongside Tenma. After confessing his fear, he pushes Tenma to spill his fear. Everyone thinks that their friend doesn't have anything that he's scared of. Our hero reveals that after his parents died, he was anxious about his survival. His body was taken over by emotions like helplessness, rage, and sorrow until Saya and Rimu appeared in front of him. As he was crying, they walked up to him and reminded him to look up at the beautiful sky instead of looking down. They offer to take him to a hospital if he's sick and food to erase all his worries. His friend's warmth got him out of the negative world, and after that, he met Sensei, Ageha, and Iberia. It made him feel that he gained a family. Our hero confesses that it's been a long time since he felt this kind of relief, and he wishes that this moment could last forever. But above all, he was afraid of living by himself. Ageha gets emotional seeing our hero so gentle and calm and completely different from the chilling vibe he had before. Iberia suddenly jumps to hug him and promises to never leave him. Izumi tells them that he asked everyone this question to test if there's a possibility that they might regret the path they're choosing when they become saviors and face true danger, because a savior must never regret. He tells everyone to keep in mind that a death without regret is every savior's ultimate goal. He then tells everyone to rest because Kisaragi and Horino have to return to the North District tomorrow. The next morning, everyone says their goodbyes. Iberia tells Rimu to make him his home cooking sometime again. Seeing him cry, our hero wonders when he got so close to Rimu. Our hero realizes that he wanted to ask Saya something, and decides to ask her in the main tournament now. Suddenly, Ageha runs in, rushing towards them to tell Izumi about some top-secret information from the South Continent. She tells Izumi that the clearance level for the intel is extremely high, and it can only be disclosed to saviors level 50 or above and continent commanders. Izum tells Ageha to break the news because he trusts our hero and his friend. Ageha tells Izumi about the prophecy from Elder Bargar that a massive disaster beast attack will happen in the northern continent within the next 3 days. Tenma wonders if the prophecy is reliable, and his friend tells him that Bargar is a renowned prophet across the 5 continents, and his prophecy is like a confirmed future. Ageha hurries Izumi to leave the northern continent quickly. Izumi knows that there must be a reason for the disaster beast to launch a massive attack, and he feels that he's likely to be the target. Izumi considers staying in the northern continent to serve as bait, but Ageha argues that combat isn't his specialty and he shouldn't risk staying behind. She urges him to evacuate the central continent for the time being. Our hero agrees with Ageha and offers to stay and fight. However, Izumi refuses to back off and tells Tenma that he wants him to do something else. Our hero argues that protecting his teacher is the most important thing. But Izumi tells him that Iberia's father, Aiden, is the most skilled crafter on the 5 continents, and it would be bad if something bad happened to him. So, Izumi asks his student to go with Iberia and guard Aiden and decides to send some awakeners as a backup too. Seeing Izumi splitting forces just to protect Iberia's dad, he wonders if he's trying to keep him away from the battlefield. Izumi then asks Ageha for 3 things. He asks her to announce the attack to the residents of the northern continents and have level 50 and below awakeners safely evacuate them. The other order is to notify the level 50 and above awakeners in the continent and have them prepared to intercept the disaster beasts at any moment. He asks Heighten to also come to the North District, where the population is low, so they don't have to worry about putting civilians in danger because he plans to intercept the disaster beasts head-on. Ageha informs her father that all the arrangements have been completed and that Heighten will be arriving soon. As he dismisses her, he notices a trace of hesitation in her expression. It doesn't take long for him to realize that she is curious about one thing: why he chose to send Tenma to Aiden in the first place. Ageha is unable to hide that curiosity, and seeing no reason to avoid the topic, he decides to explain. He tells her that they are expecting the appearance of prophesied disaster beasts, monsters whose levels could easily exceed 100. If Tenma were to encounter such beings, he would be forced to fight seriously, and in doing so, he would involuntarily expose all of the skills he currently possesses. Ajeha immediately argues back, pointing out the danger in that logic. By revealing Tenma's best abilities so openly, they would also be informing the disaster beasts of his strengths, giving them time to prepare countermeasures and ultimately kill him anyway. Her father then shares another observation he has made about Tenma. Despite his versatility, he noticeably lacks raw attack power. According to a rumor circulating among high-level circles, Aiden possesses an artifact capable of greatly boosting offensive strength. If Tenma were able to acquire that artifact, he would become an awakener who possesses nearly every possible ability, filling the one gap that currently holds him back. At around 8 p.m., on the first day of the prophecy, monoliths begin raining down upon the districts of the northern continent, signaling the official start of the assault. In North District 2, Tenma and Iberia are sprinting through the streets, heading toward Iberia's father, fully aware that a disaster beast attack could occur at any moment. Suddenly, they spot a monolith descending from the sky and realize that the attack has already begun, landing directly in the center of the city. Tenma isn't sure whether all the citizens have successfully evacuated. If a disaster beast were to appear right now, casualties would be unavoidable. As panic spreads, the citizens of the city begin to run for their lives, just as the Elder Bargar had predicted. Meanwhile, Tenma carefully observes the barrier forming around the area. He finds himself torn between two difficult choices: saving the civilians, knowing that abandoning them would result in countless deaths, or focusing entirely on their mission, knowing that helping civilians would only slow them down and become a major obstacle. He realizes that he can't bring himself to ask Iberia to help with the evacuations. Iberia is clearly worried about his father and hasn't even asked for a break despite being heavily exhausted. However, before Tenma can say anything, Iberia voluntarily suggests helping the civilians first. With that, they quickly change plans, deciding to wipe out the disaster beast within the city before anything else. Inside the city, a flame golem, level 21, has already appeared. Several heroes are desperately trying to hold it off, but their levels are drastically lower than the beasts, making the situation a complete lose-lose scenario. As they exchange glances and assess the damage, they realize they can't do much more. One by one, they decide to turn and run for their lives, all except one water elementalist. The man rushes forward to confront the monster, even though fear grips his entire body. He is practically wetting his pants, but he refuses to show his terror outwardly. Through sheer effort, he manages to take the monster down once. However, as the flame golem revives itself, it lets out a deafening roar and releases a massive wave of flames. At that moment, everyone realizes the same thing. They are about to be turned into grilled chicken. Just as all hope seems lost, Tenma appears and blocks the incoming flames, defending them effortlessly. He immediately instructs Iberia to guide the civilians to safety, while he handles the beast alone. The civilians stare in disbelief at the wall of ice that shields them and frantically ask Iberia if they are saviors. Iberia quickly denies the claim, though he confidently declares that he will surpass Jintewa someday. The civilians, still shaken, lash out at him, calling him a brat despite the fact that he saved their lives. Then their attention shifts towards our hero. They notice Tenma standing there, completely covered in ice armor. For a moment, they wonder if his body itself is some kind of artifact. Some time ago, Izumi had warned Tenma about the black sphere he uses. While it possesses immense power, its casting time is far too long. Against a truly strong disaster beast, its flight speed can't even be considered fast. If the first shot were to miss, the enemy would immediately become cautious, making it even harder to land a second hit. Izumi advised him to avoid using it as much as possible, and only rely on it when it was absolutely necessary, when he was completely certain he could finish the opponent in one strike. Back in the present, Tenma realizes that using the black sphere in the middle of a crowd would only draw more attention to him, especially when people are already whispering about him being a high-level awakener. He decides instead to rely purely on overwhelming force. Activating his Thunder Wave, he leaps into the air and delivers a crushing kick straight to the monster's head, sending it flying into the ground. The spectators are left speechless. A disaster beast is being beaten down by someone who looks no older than a teenager. Many assume that the flame golem must have already been severely injured. However, the civilians who witnessed the fight up close know better. They can't believe that a level 21 flame golem was unable to even lay a finger on him. This only deepens their confusion, making them question who Tenma truly is. As soon as the monster is defeated, Tenma and Iberia immediately flee the scene. The remaining heroes are left standing in stunned silence, unable to process the overwhelming show of power they just witnessed. While running alongside his partner, Tenma reflects on the fight. The fact that an instant kill was impossible against a disaster beast of that level doesn't bode well for what lies ahead. If monsters like this are only the beginning, then what awaits them will be far worse. One thing is clear to him now: he must find a way to raise his power, no matter the cost. Iberia is amazed by his friend's speed. However, our hero thinks that his speed is useless without power. Iberia realizes the truth to it and tells him that there's a way to raise the attack power. So, he tells Tenma that his father's warehouse is filled with artifacts, and there has to be one that could boost attack power. And since he's strong and a student of Izumi, his dad will definitely give him one. Iberia starts drooling, imagining his friend covered in artifacts, and hurries him to get to his house to get something from his dad. Our hero thought he was holding back his speed, but seeing his friend panting so much even with his agility makes him realize that he's struggling to keep up. So, our hero grabs his friends so that he doesn't get too tired to fight the disaster beast and makes a run for it. Iberia screams in panic for going too fast, but our hero tells him to put up with it for wasting too much time. After a short while of running, Iberia takes a sigh of relief for making it in one piece. Our hero wonders why his friend's dad lives in a deep forest when a town's much safer, and Iberia explains that his dad finds it too noisy to concentrate on crafting in town. However, he cautions his friend from underestimating the defense because there are tons of traps all around the place. Our hero now realizes why he was feeling the traces of mana, and his friend assures him that he'll be fine as long as he follows the path. Tenma knows he can avoid the traps with his mana sense. His friend, feeling too confident of himself, suddenly steps on a trap. He starts panicking because the trap he stepped on is the most troublesome. Our hero feels the mana getting stronger, and suddenly, an epic iron golem stands before them. Our hero is surprised that the old man even has humanoid artifacts. The iron golem swings his arm to attack Iberia, but our hero steps in and blocks the punch. As our hero stands against the golem, he knows that the artifact's attack power is stronger than him. However, he still can't destroy the artifact with his piercing true sphere because it's meant to protect his friend's dad. He asks Iberia if there's any way to stop the golem, and Iberia tells him to go for the karma stone in its chest because it's the power source. Our hero activates his thunder wave because he may be lower in attack power, but he's faster. He quickly climbs through the iron golem's arm and steals its karma stone. Suddenly, Iberia screams at Jusuke to stop. Our hero is surprised as he turns around and finds a man taking a swing at him. Jusuke clarifies that he thought they were bandits, and our hero wonders how he sneaked in without any mana waves. Even more, he's surprised to see the sword disappear. Iberia introduces his friend to Jusuke and tries to give him more details, but our hero hurries to get to the topic. Jusuke tells them that the old man is in the back but warns them to be careful because he's in a bad mood. Iberia excitedly tells his dad that he passed the qualifiers and he cleared Nightmare class, placing 4th in the region. He asks his dad to fulfill his promise and give him an artifact of his choice, but instead of an artifact, Iberia gets a slap to the face. His dad asks him to return the dragon gear he stole. Iberia tries to protest that he just borrowed the artifact, but his dad scolds him for being too reckless because wearing the dragon gear for too long has irreversible consequences. Iberia walks out angry, and the old man turns to our hero, recognizing him as Izumi's student. Our hero introduces himself and explains to the old man that he was sent to protect him because of the prophecy about a massive disaster beast attack. The old man knows Izumi has high standards and rarely takes in disciples, which makes him wonder why he would choose someone so ordinary looking like our hero. Suddenly, the old man's eyes open wide in shock as he realizes that the kid in front of him may have his level fixed. The old man thinks that our hero is faking his stats with some kind of artifact, but Tenma tells him that he isn't. The old man now realizes why Izumi requested the artifact. He tells the kid that his teacher is good at understanding his profits and losses and always demands some return. However, our hero didn't hear anything about a return and was only asked to guard the old man. Aiden tells our hero that he received a contact asking for a certain artifact in exchange for letting Izumi's disciple protect him. Our hero doesn't mind protecting the old man even without getting an artifact, but the old man doesn't mind giving him one. However, Aiden wonders why Izumi specifically chose a failed product. Originally, it was an item made to bring out the maximum attack power of an awakener, but suddenly a crack appeared on it. The artifact's rank became unknown, and a mysterious broken effect was added to it. The broken effect is that the critical rate resets when the user's level increases. So, the artifact becomes completely useless for a normal awakener. The old man was confused why Izumi requested this artifact, but now seeing his stats, he understands the reason. The old man finds our protagonist special. He doesn't know how he gets stronger, but he believes the artifact could be perfect for Tenma, whose level doesn't increase. As he defeats disaster beasts, his critical rate will eventually reach 100%, and in the future, every attack will be strengthened by 10 times. Our hero equips the broken critical crystal, but the critical rate only increases when he defeats enemies with higher attack power than him, which is a bit difficult. So, he decides to figure out countermeasures after surviving the attack. Aiden finds the artifact suitable for Tenma. Our hero thanks the old man, but Aiden believes that he makes the artifact while they fight the beasts, so a thanks is not needed. He assures our hero that the disaster beasts won't attack such a remote place unless they already know his location and tells him to rest. Suddenly, something falls, and as everyone looks up, they're surprised to see a green barrier in the sky. Only the commanders-in-chief of the 5 continents knew Aiden's location. which makes him wonder if the monument stone falling here was a coincidence. Jusuk orders everyone to stay back, but our hero tells him that the disaster beasts are already headed to them. Our protagonist can feel something approaching them at incredible speed. The beasts rush in, and one of them swings his sharp claws at Tenma. Our hero grabs the beast and cuts through it. No matter how many beasts of this level come at our hero, he feels confident that he can easily finish them off with a lotus explosion. He thinks that Jusky might also be able to take the lotus explosion, but worries that Aiden and Iberia, who are hiding in the hut behind, might get involved if he uses the lotus explosion too recklessly. Our hero clears through the beasts and stands back. He suddenly feels another much stronger wave of magic power as more beasts head towards him. Meanwhile, the Demon King Yamaraja informs his lord that the first wave of the advance party made of lower-class slaves has been sent to the human world. He asks the lord which of the 8 demon kings should be entrusted with the command of the main force. However, the lord tells them that he saw the existence of an important person in the human world with the eye he left behind during his last visit to the human world and wants them to capture him. Yamaraja asks if that task will be trusted to one of the 8 demon kings too, but the lord thinks that a demon king class will destroy the eye he left behind and decides to leave the task to a demon general instead. As for the command of the main force, he decides to give it to the ape-eating demon because he hasn't tasted a living human in a long time. Our boy suddenly hears Iberia's voice nearby and wonders if some beast managed to sneak into the room. Almost on cue, a level 24 horned guardian monster spawns in, looking for a scrap. Tenma gets serious and realizes it's finally time to stop sandbagging and pull out that one ability he's been keeping on ice. He notices this mob is hitting harder than usual, which is actually a W for him since it boosts his crit rate. According to the system, his broken crystal pumps his crit rate by a lot, and every time he levels up it resets, so he's ready to farm some stats. With the plan set, Tenma fires his clear orb to test the new skill, and a beam of purple energy instantly drills through the monster, deleting it in one shot. Just like that, his crit rate hits 1%, everything going exactly to plan. He tells Josek to hold things down outside while he handles the pest control inside, then rushes toward the cabin at full speed to make sure his friend doesn't get spawn killed. Inside, Iberia is pinned to the ground with a horned demon over him, completely helpless without his dragon gear. He's just about to accept defeat when his dad suddenly drops in and blocks the attack with a massive hammer. Iberia is stunned. He always thought his dad was just a regular craftsman, but Aiden doesn't even flinch. Then, the monster charges at the old man to finish him off, but before it can even reach him, our boy flashes in and drives all his power straight into the beast's chest, finishing it off for good. Our boy apologizes for the laggy entrance while the old guy asks about the situation outside. Tenma notes that the magic signatures have gone silent, meaning Josek likely cleared the board out there. Looking out, they see the absolute carnage the guy left behind, and Iberia is genuinely shook by how much of a powerhouse the guy turned out to be. Joseki is ready to keep the momentum going and solo the remaining beasts in the barrier, but Tenma puts the brakes on that idea. He tells him to stay behind and babysit Aiden and Iberia instead. In that moment, the old guy catches a glimpse of Tenma's eyes and realizes the kid isn't scared at all. He's actually hungry for the fight. Seeing that raw excitement, Aiden decides to trust him to handle the barrier solo. Josek is a bit worried since a green barrier means mobs up to level 26, but our boy doesn't even hesitate. He jets off toward the barrier like a lightning bolt, hyped to finally go all out. Iberia tries to follow, asking Josek to watch his dad so he can back up his teammate. But the old guy shuts that down fast, telling his son to stop being delusional. He tells him straight up that they live in a completely different world compared to Tenma. Iberia tries to argue about teamwork and covering each other's backs, but Aiden hits him with the brutal honesty special, calling him dead weight and saying he'd only get in the way. Those words hit Iberia like a truck, especially coming from his own father. Aiden explains that the normal rules of teamwork don't apply to someone like him, and he asks his son if he's ever actually looked into the boy's eyes during a fight. Iberia has no comeback for that, finally realizing just how wide the gap really is. Back at the barrier, the system pings 5 enemies nearby and instantly tops off our boy's magic by 50%. Surrounded on all sides, he doesn't even break a sweat, telling the creatures to get out of his way before they get hurt. He triggers a Lotus Burst, and the resulting blast is so massive it deletes all 5 enemies in one go, bumping his critical rate up to 2%. Far away, Iberia and Josuke see the forest light up from the explosion and go completely tense. Josuke realizes that the guy's slow leveling isn't about a lack of skill, it's definitely tied to some unique, broken gift he's hiding. Inside the green dome, our boy can feel the vibe shift immediately. The beasts in here are built different. His magic detection gets fuzzy because the barrier is basically a signal jammer, but he remembers his master's guide to color-coded danger. Green means he's looking at level 26 to 50 mobs, which honestly just sounds like a buffet of experience points to him. He summons his new monster, a B-rank level 16 Deathhound, and gives the good boy a pat, promising that the wolf can have all the XP from this run. With that, he starts walking toward the barrier, dead serious. The beasts inside are his prey now. Over at a private estate that same night, things are getting pretty tense. A young woman lets her dad know the awakened guards have finally touched down, including a guy named Chirijimake, who's a level 63 first-grade savior rocking some heavy armor. Even though the perimeter is supposedly secure, the daughter is low-key panicking because she can't get a hold of Heighten, a special-grade savior who ghosted her call 6 hours ago. She says he might have run into trouble with monsters on the way, but her dad brushes it off like the local monsters are just a minor inconvenience. With this, he insists they need Heighten, saying only a special grade can handle the monsters coming from the north. The armored warrior Chiri isn't feeling the hype for the special grade elites though. He starts acting a bit extra, claiming the gap between first grade and special grade is basically a myth, and that he can handle any beast that shows up. The old man shuts that down fast, calling him delusional, and that overconfidence usually comes from never facing a real final boss monster. The trash talk gets cut short when a monolith drops from the sky and disaster beasts start flooding in. Even with Heighten still missing in action, Chiri steps up with some massive main character vibes, declaring he's going to solo the whole wave just to prove first graders are actually cracked. Back at the green barrier, our boy and his wolf find themselves in a creepy mirror version of the forest. A green beam shoots up, and he realizes the barrier is its own separate dimension, since his magic detection is only picking up signals from the inside. The system pings 5 enemies, instantly topping off his magic, so he gives his wolf a good boy pat and tells him to play goalie at the entrance. With this, he sparks up his electric powers, ready to clear the room. Just then, 2 massive units charge him, but he's too fast, dodging the first and body slamming the second with his black wall. He finishes the combo with an electric blast that sends the rest of the mobs flying. When a much bigger, elite monster tries to step up, our boy doesn't even let it finish its intro. He fires his clear orbs straight through its face, bumping his critical rate to 3%. Dropping the monster, he checks out the green monolith, wondering if he can just one-tap it to collapse the barrier, but the system pings 1 more enemy. He locks back in, knowing there's still one last boss lurking in the shadows. Without warning, several black spikes erupt from the ground, nearly skewering Tenma. He dodges just in time, realizing that if his magical detection hadn't picked up that split-second ripple, he'd be a literal kebab right now. He looks toward the monolith and spots the source of the attack lurking behind it, immediately clocking that this beast is a different breed compared to the fodder he's been clearing. This isn't just a mindless monster, it's something much more dangerous. From the outside, the massive green barrier looks like a giant dome swallowing a huge chunk of the forest. Iberia is standing there looking pretty bruised and stressed, worried he's just dead weight for his friend. Joseki tries to give him a reality check, explaining that green barriers are a whole different beast compared to the mindless gray ones. While gray barrier monsters just smash stuff, green barriers can spawn intelligent generals, like a level 34 four-horned beast. Josuke tells him he's not a burden because he's weak, but because Tenma is just built different, and currently playing on a level most people can't even touch. Inside the dome, our boy is actually hyped to finally find one of the rumored intelligent monsters. The creature is straight up trash-talking him, asking if he's muttering prayers and calling him a coward for being level 0. It thinks he's trembling from fear, but Tenma just flashes a sinister grin and tells the monster he's actually just vibrating with excitement. With that, our boy starts engulfing himself in pure power and asks the beast if it can feel pain. This absolutely triggers the monster, which screams that a mere human could never hurt it. It lunges forward, swinging its bladed limbs with enough force to delete anything in its path. Our boy sparks up his electricity and meets the charge head-on, launching a slashing counter that cuts through the air. He thinks is winning, but then he notices something sus. The monster's magic is actually climbing mid-fight, and his reflexes are getting even faster. The problem is that our boy's raw attack power is still a bit low, and his strikes are barely leaving a scratch on the creature's thick hide. The monster is low-key, impressed by the agility, but dismisses him anyway, calling him an insect and claiming 100 weak hits wouldn't even tickle. Our boy keeps his cool, using his insane speed to weave through the bladed attacks and even using the monster's own appendages to parry the incoming blows. As the pressure builds, he stays perfectly defensive and dares the beast to actually land a hit if it thinks it's really about that life. The beast eventually catches on that our boy is burning through electricity purely to redline his speed, and it starts wondering just how much magic he has left in the tank. During the high-speed trade, our boy realizes the creature's antennas are actually part of its main body, which explains why his mimesis skill was acting sus and not triggering on them. He stays focused on the grind, dodging attacks while keeping a mental tally of every hit he lands. The monster thinks the effort is pointless, but with his magic hitting the red zone, Tenma decides it's time to stop playing it safe and go for the all-in play. He ramps up the frequency of his strikes, knowing that all he needs is one lucky critical hit to end the fight. Every tiny scratch he lands builds up the system's hidden meter while the monster just scoffs, thinking its bladed armor is invincible. In his rush to stack the hits, Tenma gets a bit too aggressive and eats a heavy counter with a tentacle going through his body. The monster mocks him, asking where all that big talk about pain went, though it secretly gives him props for having a defense stat high enough to actually survive the hit. Just when things look dicey, a red aura explodes around our boy, the signal from the crystal that his pity timer is up. His next move is guaranteed to be a crit. Putting every ounce of power he has left into one move, he drives a massive punch straight into the monster's chest. The impact is absolutely nuclear. The resulting shockwave clears out the surrounding forest and blindsides the beast with explosive force. The monster gets planted in a tree, staring at the massive dent in its chest and wondering how a level 0 human just pulled a one-shot move out of nowhere. Even the MC is a bit shook by how hard the critical hit actually landed. Standing over the wrecked creature, Tenma is vibing on a mix of pure adrenaline and satisfaction. Even though he's got a gnarly wound on his stomach, he can't feel a thing. With steam rising from his breath and a scary-looking smile, he grabs the beast and asks if it finally understands what pain feels like. The monster is terrified, calling him a cheater because his power scaling makes 0 sense. Our boy just points out that the other fodder didn't even live long enough to scream before finishing the beast off for good. As the boss goes down, his critical rate climbs to a permanent 4%. The second the adrenaline drops, the pain from his stomach wound hits him like a truck. He notices the barrier has gone transparent, which is the universal sign that everything is cleared. He hobbles over to the green monolith, knowing its destruction is the final objective, and shatters it with one last punch. As the pieces fall, he collapses to the ground, exhausted but relieved. He remembers he left his new companion on XP farming duty and calls out for his wolf, Death. When the wolf appears, it's noticeably chunkier than before. The system confirms the wolf leveled up 3 times and scored 150 status points, proving that the wolf actually physically grows every time it hits a new level. Our boy stares at his growing wolf with genuine excitement, already wondering how big this guy can really get. Then, in the middle of the night, the green barrier finally flickers and vanishes, leaving the warriors absolutely stunned. Josuke watches the dome disappear with a dead serious expression, realizing this rookie just speedran a high-level barrier in 10 minutes flat, a feat that makes the veteran's own stats look like amateur hour. But the victory came with a heavy price. The boy is slumped against a rock, looking completely trashed and covered in wounds, while Death stands over him like a loyal bodyguard, watching his master's fading health bar with concern. Since he's way too drained to walk, our boy tells his wolf to track his magical trail back to where his blonde teammate is waiting. Without missing a beat, the now enormous wolf howls, which echoes through the mountains. Back at the camp, the armored veteran hears the sound and immediately gets sus, wondering why there are still beast noises if the barrier is supposedly cleared. He goes into full combat mode and tells the young apprentice to get to safety, but the blonde boy pauses, recognizing that howl from their earlier scrap. Suddenly, a massive shadow bursts from the trees and Josek pulls out his colossal sword, ready to one-tap whatever jumped out of the bushes. But Iberia realizes it's Death at the last second. He screams for the warrior to hold his fire, explaining that the giant wolf is actually on their side. Death dodges Josek's swing with some high-level agility, carefully protecting the unconscious master on its side. Josuke stands there looking completely confused, unable to wrap his head around how a level 0 player is out here commanding top-tier spirits. Seeing that, Iberia sprints over in a total panic, wondering how his buddy is out here multi-classing with spirit abilities on top of everything else. He sees our boy as basically a mess of injuries and desperately asks what kind of monster he had to fight to end up in this state. Tenma manages to mumble a request for some rest before passing out cold, which sends Iberia into another round of frantic screaming. Josek has to step in and play the adult, pointing out that the guy is still breathing and just needs some medical attention. Back at their place, as he watches his friend lying in bed, Iberia hits a moment of deep reflection, realizing the power gap between them is basically a canyon. He thinks about his own role as a wind elementalist, a class built for controlling air and movement. His specific C-rank gift, Healing Wind, is designed for support, but it comes with a major nerf to his own damage output, something he's always hated and refused to use. But seeing his teammate on the brink of a game over, he decides to stop being stubborn. He activates the skill, and a soft green aura surrounds him as he pours his magic into Tenma. Even though the healing process looks painful, he keeps at it, quietly begging his friend to pull through so they can keep grinding as a team. Just when things seem to be cooling down, a massive purple barrier drops over the whole region like a total nightmare, spawned by a brand new monolith. A split second later, a devastating attack slices through a building like it's made of paper. The young woman from before tries to use her butterfly healing magic to save the downed warrior, but he screams at her to run for her life. He's staring down a level 81 Minotaur warrior from the Bull tribe and realizes humanity is basically cooked against something that beefy. The armored fighter, Chiri, warns their leader Izumi to run, but he just stands there like a total Chad. Hearing that name, The monster gets excited that it's found its target so quickly and swings its massive fist at him. As the attack lands, it creates a massive explosion that rocks the battlefield. The girl with glasses gets blown back, screaming for her father, who just took a direct hit to the face. However, as the dust settles, Izumi is barely scratched and casually calls out, complaining that someone showed up late. It turns out it's Heighten, who came in clutch and stopped the guy's attack with one hand. He casually apologizes for the laggy arrival and tells the group to step back and let him handle the oversized cow. The Minotaur scoffs at the new challenger, but Heighten doesn't waste time on a dialogue tree. He throws a punch so hard it drills a hole straight through the creature's upper body. Seeing that, Chiri looks like his jaw is about to hit the floor. He starts wondering if this is what a special class savior actually looks like, basically a monster in human skin. The young woman starts celebrating, but Heighten shuts it down, warning her that the real boss fight is just starting as the barrier shifts from purple to a blood-red hue. Tucked away in the shadows of the barrier, a red-flamed demon is watching the chaos with a wicked grin. This guy is a level 37 king, and he's hyped to see how his lord is going to torment the humans next. He's not alone though. A level 49 white ogre is lurking behind him ready to scrap. The demon general among them tells the ogre to keep it chill, reminding him that their mission is a surgical strike to capture a specific target, not just a random griefing session. The level 87 demon general breaks down the master plan, explaining that they use the purple and red barriers as a massive distraction to keep the heavy-hitting humans busy. The flame demon looks a bit confused and asks why they were sent with Lord Saru. The general explains that if all three of them stay together inside a barrier, it would glow purple and stand out too much. According to him, the red barrier that Lord Saru creates will attract strong humans nearby, allowing them to carry out Lord Linga's mission without interference. As they're talking, the monstrous beast, Lord Saru, roars from inside the red barrier. According to them, while the world ranker types are distracted by the red barrier, the demon group is planning to slip away with their prize. He reveals that Lord Linga is guiding them with a demonic eye already planted in the human world, giving them a live 4K feed of their objective, which is Tenma. Our MC jolts awake like he just took a massive shock, drenched in cold sweat with one eye glowing a demonic red. Still stuck in bed, he can't shake the heavy vibes from the nightmare he just had about his late mother. In the dream, a younger version of himself was excitedly bragging to her about finally finding a beast that could feel pain, claiming he'd finished his revenge. But his mom's ghost wasn't feeling it. She gently told him that revenge isn't the move, and begged him to use his broken powers to protect the people he loves, instead of just hunting for blood. Young Tenma absolutely lost it at that, screaming that forgiving the monsters who took his parents was a total no-go. With his eyes burning with pure hate, he swore to wipe out every single beast in existence. His mom just gave him a sad, fading smile as she started to glitch out of the dream, telling him she had to go. He desperately tried to grab her hand, but their fingers only grazed each other for a millisecond before she dissolved into light, leaving him crying and alone in the dark. The mood gets even darker when a mysterious voice starts roasting him for crying over a dead person. Our boy turns around and sees his sleep paralysis demon, the actual demon of destruction. The demon taunts him for acting like a child, which triggers a red aura of fury around the boy. He charges in for a punch, but the demon just wraps him in purple energy, telling him he's about to feel that shattering sensation again. Our boy's body starts cracking like glass, and he's still screaming that he's going to delete Linga from existence right up until his dream self shatters into pieces. Snapping back to reality, Tenma is gasping for air, his red eye still glowing as he realizes Iberia is crashed out right next to him. He feels a sharp, phantom pain in his eyes that makes zero sense since he's physically fine, and he starts overthinking what that nightmare was trying to tell him. Just then, he notices his wounds are basically gone, and realizes his friend must have spent the whole night grinding his healing skills to patch him up. Seeing Iberia completely knocked out from exhaustion, our boy feels a bit guilty. He signals death to stay quiet, but the Goofy lets out a loud roar anyway. That instantly wakes Iberia up, and he jumps into defense mode, thinking his friend is under attack. Our boy just sits there, totally unbothered by the light breeze, internally noting that a tickle from a feather would probably hit harder. Seeing his buddy alive and well, Iberia is over the moon, giving him a massive hug and celebrating that his healing magic actually did the trick. When asked how long he was out, the boy says it's only been about 3 hours, but that's enough to make our boy realize they are officially on day 2 of the prophecy. Even though his partner insists things have been quiet, our boy can't shake the sus vibes from his nightmare and puts on his coat, refusing to drop his guard for even a second. As they head out, he wonders about Josuke. His friend starts talking about naming the giant wolf, but our boy shuts it down, saying he's not a real summoner, even though he clearly doesn't want anyone messing with his wolf's branding. When they step outside, Josuke spots him and casually points out that it wasn't just the bandages that healed him. He asks if it was Iberia who finally used his ability. Hearing that, Tenma is a little surprised that the guy's actually a healer, but he quickly brushes it off, saying he can fight too. Still, Tenma makes a mental note of it as they head over to the veteran warrior by the campfire. Our boy asks the veteran if the backup has arrived yet, which strikes Josuke as a bit weird. He points out that the forest is a literal maze, making travel a total grind, but Tenma isn't buying it. He's starting to sense a dark, heavy energy creeping through the gloom, feeling like something nasty is closing in on their position. Meanwhile, far away, a squad of reinforcements is actually sprinting through the woods, trying to reach Tenma's group. A guy with a ponytail is complaining to his fellow Kobayashi about the scenery, but staying hyped because finishing this mission means a fat promotion. Suddenly, a pink-haired girl in the group tells everyone to kill the engine and stop. She sensed something off and warns the squad to get into combat stances because something is headed their way fast. Right on cue, they notice two shadowy figures who also realizes that they've been spotted and step out of the brush, and it turns out it's the flame-haired demon along with his white ogre creep. The flame demon hits them with a twisted smile, asking if they're all heading to the same party. Before they can even react, the demon summons a flaming skeleton to join the fight. The fire demon roasts the humans for being fragile, bragging that one fireball was all it took to start the chaos. Nearby, the white ogre is standing over a flattened warrior, having just punched the guy into the dirt. The fire demon even comments on how extra the ogre was for hitting the guy that hard, making it clear these reinforcements are in for a long night. The pink-haired girl is absolutely spiraling, demanding to know how these freaks spawned without a barrier. The fire demon just hits her with a cruel smirk, conjuring a fireball while bragging about how far they've traveled just to ruin her day. She starts sobbing in total despair, realizing she's trapped in a no-win situation, while the demon general casually glances at the fire demon and warns it not to touch his kill. Suddenly, the fire demon gets hit with an ice attack out of nowhere, freezing him solid on the spot. The demon general makes it clear that this was just a warning shot, and things will get way worse if he doesn't stay in his lane. Furious, the fire demon manages to shatter the ice and burst free with his flames, secretly sweating over how close he came to a permanent game over. Meanwhile, the girl is just standing there in shock, watching these two powerhouses flex on each other. She wonders if they're actually going to let her walk away, but the fire demon isn't convinced she's worth the mercy. The demon general, however, just wants to test out a fresh gift from its lord. Dark energy tendrils erupt and snag the girl, making her scream as the dark magic completely overwrites her system. When the smoke clears, she's standing perfectly still, her face hidden in shadow, and her vibe completely changed. While his partner thinks she's dead, the demon general reveals that she hasn't been deleted, she's been converted into a demon. Her eyes start glowing red, a mark appears on her forehead, and the general confirms she's now a loyal puppet for their side of the war. The girl drops to one knee and asks for her new objective. The demon general tells her to go undercover in human society and play the victim, claiming her squad was wiped out, and she's the sole survivor. She's told to wait for the arrival of their big boss, Linga, and with the mission locked in, she disappears into the dark forest to start her infiltration. The demon general still doesn't get why they're recruiting low-level humans, but the general explains that they've already converted thousands, including some of the top-tier awakened fighters. The plan is to use these sleeper agents as high-value pieces once their lord officially takes over the world. The leader shuts down the chatter and tells everyone to move out, reminding them that this mission is the highest priority on their list. Fast forward to the second day of the prophecy, and a massive iron golem is standing guard over a totally silent village. Looking at it, Josuke notes that the golem's tank stats definitely make up for their small party size as they prep for the next raid, saying that he asks where Tenma is, and Iberia lets him know that the dark-haired guy is currently busy at the workshop. Inside the workshop, Tenma is geeking out with Iberia's dad over a crystal that went off during his last scrap. He explains that despite having a tiny 3% critical hit chance, it jumped to 4% after he dropped that forest beast. The old craftsman is seriously impressed, noting that landing a crit with such trash RNG is basically a miracle. But our boy admits it wasn't just about the extra DPS. He felt like he entered a flow state where he could see everything coming and felt completely untouchable. The blacksmith thinks it over, wondering if it's a hidden perk of the boy's gear, that legendary ultra instinct feeling where everything slows down, and the chaos of the battle just feels like a walk in the park. Tenma nods, confirming that's exactly how it felt while he was dancing around those monsters in the middle of all that danger. The dad is visibly shook and explains that he actually tapped into the legendary flow state during live combat. He describes it as that ultra-rare phenomenon where someone gets so deeply absorbed in what they're doing that the rest of the world just stops existing. Since the boy looks a bit lost with the jargon, the blacksmith breaks it down into simpler terms. It's like a painter who forgets to eat because they're locked into a masterpiece, or an athlete whose body just moves on autopilot with zero mistakes. When an awakened person hits this zone, their senses get cracked and every single attribute and skill effect gets a massive 120% buff, making them way more dangerous than usual. Tenma is completely stunned because his master never even mentioned this was a thing. The old man points out that it takes a laser-focused mind and a huge amount of luck to pull it off, which is why it's usually the line in the sand between actual geniuses and everyone else. Most people never even see it, and the craftsman admits it took him 2 years of awakening just to find that zone once. The fact that the boy pulled it off in just 1 month is basically a speedrun record that shouldn't be possible. Suddenly, Tenma's focus shifts as he picks up on 3 dark, powerful signatures closing in at high speed. At first, they think it might be the guards, but the energy feels way too toxic, more like disaster beasts. The boy decides to check the perimeter immediately, sprinting out of the workshop and throwing the door open with a dead serious look, ready to scrap. His friends outside are confused by his sudden tension, but he warns them that he's sensing magical waves that mean more trouble is coming. Iberia tries to play it cool, pointing out there's no barrier and the iron golem is on watch, but the logic doesn't hold up for long. Without any warning, something hits the golem with insane speed. Iberia is left speechless as the massive metal giant is pierced straight through the chest, its heavy frame literally falling apart into scrap metal. Josuke is just as stunned because the golem got one-tapped before it could even register the threat. That's when 3 high-level demons, the demon general and his team, reveal themselves. The system confirms it's still day 2 of the prophecy as a heavy, unsettling aura starts suffocating the area. Our boy locks onto them and realizes these guys are on a completely different level than anything they fought in the barrier. The leader's magical waves are the most oppressive thing he's ever felt in his life. The demon leader announces that it's going to personally handle the capture of the target, while its 2 subordinates handle the trash disposal. He gives them one strict rule: do not damage the demonic eye under any circumstances. The monsters acknowledge the order, and the human squad is shaken to realize these creatures can actually talk back. Josuke, however, doesn't waste time as he steps to the front, swearing nobody is getting past him, and charges the shadow leader with his sword raised. However, as he charges in, he is struggling just to track the demon's movement, realizing the enemy is moving at a speed that's basically glitched, but he and Iberia are committed to keeping the monsters away from their friend at any cost. The shadow demon immediately throws up an ice barrier that shuts down Josuke's charge like a brick wall. The man slams into the solid ice, realizing he's totally cut off, and even his best sword swings can't put a dent in the magic. Right as he's struggling, the white ogre spawns behind him and lets a punch fly. The warrior spins to block, but the raw power behind the hit is absolutely cracked, sending him flying backward like a rag doll. Our boy screams for his teammate, but the fire demon tells him he's got 0 time to be worried about anyone else. With a toxic grin, the demon yeets a massive fireball straight at him. Seeing that, our boy tells Iberia to get back and drops his black wall to tank the hit. The explosion is massive, leaving Iberia in total shock, while Tenma's system starts a rank A copy ability to analyze the flame. The progress is only at 1% though, and with his arms scorched from the blast, Tenma realizes he definitely overestimated his barrier and should have just dodged. The fire demon mocks him for thinking some weak ice could stop its heat, but he secretly wonders if he went too hard, since the boy is the bearer of the demonic eye. Tenma is struggling on his knees, and when the demon's scan shows he's just a level 0 human, he starts laughing. He figures he can just finish him off and ignore the mission entirely because the gap in power is just that big. But Tenma isn't folding as he summons his Death Hound to even the odds. The demon just mocks the 2v1 attempt, calling the wolf a basic summon and bragging that even 10 more beasts wouldn't change the outcome. Our boy is putting all his chips on death to pull them through, and when the next explosion goes off, the demon is shocked to see the kid actually dodged it. The monster notices something sus about the wolf too. It's not just blindly following the boy, but is actually moving toward the demon's true objective. Doing that, Tenma thinks to himself that if he plays weak, he can bait the demon into stalling, but he just can't bring himself to act like a coward. Instead, he lets his aura explode with red eyes and blue lightning, basically telling the demon he looks mid at best. The fire demon is absolutely triggered by the inferior creature talking trash and decides to turn him into ashes immediately. He launches another massive attack, but the boy dodges it cleanly, figuring out the demon is a long-range zoner with average movement speed. With that read on the situation, he decides to close the gap and force a close-quarters fight, charging in with everything he's got. The fire demon is caught off guard by the sudden W key approach, genuinely shocked by the kid's speed. Even so, the monster stays composed, watching the boy approach with a creepy smile that says he's got a nasty trap waiting for him. Our boy throws a kick, but just as it's about to hit, the demon summons a shield made of pure flames and blocks it perfectly. He blasts a concentrated burst of fire straight into the boy's chest, launching him backward with enough force to send him crashing hard into a tree. Tenma pulls himself together, realizing he walked straight into a trap. Even the demon admits he's clearly dealing with some kind of intelligent beast in disguise, because there's no way a level 0 fighter could move that fast. Despite being in rough shape, the boy forces himself back to his feet, staring the monster down with pure determination. The fire creature admits it got fooled by the act and suggests the boy just give up and take the L to make things easier. Tenma, however, checks his system and sees the power analysis has hit 81%. He just needs to stall for a few more minutes. The scene cuts back to the village at 3:14 a.m., where the demon leader is standing right in front of Iberia's dad, casually listing off all his legendary achievements and calling him the greatest craftsman humanity's ever seen. He then asks if the blacksmith's really planning to throw his life away like this, making it clear he has no reason to kill him as long as he stays useful. But the blacksmith isn't having it. He straight up says he's got no interest in taking orders from anyone. He rushes in with his tools, but before he can even take another step, his body suddenly freezes in place, locked down by ice. Doing that, the demon reminds him that in this zone, he is the one who decides who gets to keep their life. Hiding nearby, Iberia is watching the whole thing and absolutely losing it. He's terrified that his dad is about to be snatched, and he's currently frozen behind a suit of armor, shaking with fear and indecision. Suddenly, Tenma's death hound comes crashing onto the scene. Iberia recognizes the beast immediately, and watches as it launches itself at the shadow demon in full beast mode. But the demon leader just stares the wolf down and, in the blink of an eye, freezes the hound solid. The demon snaps at its subordinates for letting the trash get through, while the blacksmith realizes backup has arrived, even if it's currently in pieces. Still hiding, Iberia is horrified to see that even a powerful summon like that couldn't even touch the enemy. He knows he's outclassed, and his first instinct is to call Tenma for help, but then his father's warning echoes in his head. He knows calling his friend would just put an already injured person into a meat grinder, and he's not willing to risk his friend's life like that. With a new look of determination, he decides that running away is for losers. He's going to save his dad himself, no matter what it takes. He remembers the dragon gear, a special piece of equipment his father crafted, and realizes that's his only real win condition. He sprints toward the workshop, convinced the item is hidden under his old man's bed, mentally begging his father to just hold on a little longer while he goes to get the cheat codes. Just then, the shadow leader catches on that someone was camping nearby but just bailed, calling the person a straight-up coward for leaving the blacksmith to fend for himself. Without missing a beat, the demon announces he's taking the old man to his final destination, while the old guy stays stuck in a block of ice, unable to do a single thing about it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the flame demon is prepping a fatality move called the Red Flame Bullet to finish off Tenma. The boy is in a rough spot. His leg is scorched, so he drops his black wall to mask the injury, and pops Thunderbreaker to squeeze out every drop of speed he has left. He's dodging explosions left and right, but the fire monster notices his movement is starting to lag. The demon starts trash-talking, asking how much longer a beat-up kid can actually run from an endgame attack that's guaranteed to hit. The stakes get even higher when the boy notices the demon is using both hands now, telegraphing a massive AoE attack. With a shout, the demon lets loose dozens of flaming projectiles that rain down like a literal firestorm, leaving the boy with nowhere to hide. His eyes go wide as the spheres close in from every angle. He knows his body is too heavy and exhausted to pull off a perfect dodge this time, and he's forced to brace for the impact as he realizes he's about to take some serious damage. Just as things look completely cooked, the system shows the analysis is at 90%. He grits his teeth through the heat as the number climbs to 92%, 94%, 98%, until a direct hit finally sends him flying, swallowed up by the flames. As he's going down, a core memory of his mother being consumed by blue flames flashes through his mind, adding emotional damage to the physical pain. The demon grins, putting all its magic power into one final piercing shot to end him for good. But at the literal last millisecond, the analysis hits 100%, and a blue barrier explodes into existence, tanking the hit perfectly. The collision sends a massive shockwave through the area, leaving the flame demon totally confused about where this new shield came from. The system announces that Black Wall has leveled up to level 3, giving Tenma a massive 50-point stat boost and a full heal on the spot. He realizes this power-up is basically like skipping 4 entire levels in an instant, and he's definitely feeling the main character vibes now. The demon can't process how its flames aren't even leaving a scratch anymore, figuring the boy just popped a defensive skill. The Black Wall has evolved too, forming a massive protective ice lotus around him. The fire creature tries to regain its composure, prepping a new attack and telling itself the real fight is just starting. But then it stops dead in its tracks with his eyes wide with pure shock as he realizes the boy's body is back to 100% health, looking like he never even took a hit in the first place. Tenma locks eyes with the demon and lets him know that the original plan was to save someone named Aiden first, but those flames triggered some core trauma from his past, and because of that, he's decided to delete the demon right here and now. His eyes glow red with pure, unbridled rage as he swears to crush the monster into the dirt. Not far away, Josuke gets launched across the forest floor, landing hard after a brutal hit. He barely managed to parry with his karma tool, realizing that without those fast reflexes, he would have been sent straight back to the lobby. Even with the block, The force was enough to leave him struggling to stand, and he tries to catch his breath through the smoke and dust, genuinely stunned by how far he just got yeeted. Realizing these aren't your basic mobs, he decides to regroup, but a massive explosion cuts off his vision. Through the haze, he sees the same beast from before charging him with its tongue out, looking like a total nightmare. Instead of dipping, Josuke decides to aggro the monster to keep it away from Tenma, his eyes burning red as he vows to end the fight quickly so he can get back to the workshop. Inside the workshop, Iberia is desperately hunting for a buff to flip the script. He's shoving his arm under furniture until his fingers finally manage to find the dragon gear. He lets out a shout of pure hype as he holds up the legendary dragon gear, an epic item that grants a massive +100 to both attack and agility for a 15-minute window. He snaps the red armor on and feels the power surge, swearing that this time he's actually going to carry his weight instead of being a burden. He keeps his dad's warning in mind: the armor is dangerous and that 15-minute timer is a hard limit. That just makes him move faster. He sets a personal mission to get his old man out of the mess before the clock runs out. Meanwhile, the Shadow General stands over the frozen blacksmith, mocking him for thinking escape was even an option. The villain brags that the only real threats to the plan are special-grade fighters, and since the strongest human warriors are currently busy fighting the Demon Lord, there's nobody left to play the hero. Trapped in his icy prison, the blacksmith wonders if they really went through all this trouble just for a simple craftsman. The Shadow General tells him not to get a big head, explaining that he's just one small piece in a much larger global-scale plot. Right as the demon is feeling smug, it senses a presence. Someone is blitzing through the trees at high speed, heading straight for them. Out of nowhere, Iberia comes blasting through the trees, moving so fast it's almost a blur, and goes straight for the demon in a desperate attempt to free the blacksmith from the ice. The general notices and looks visibly annoyed, complaining that these humans just keep getting back up no matter how many times they're put down. Elsewhere on the battlefield, Tenma is standing tall on his ice lotus flower, looking like he just stepped out of a spa instead of a firestorm. The fire demon is having a total meltdown trying to figure out the logic here. He watched the boy get turned into a crispy snack, yet now there's not a single scratch on him. Refusing to accept that the boy just hit the respawn button on his health bar, the demon decides that no matter how many times he heals, the ending is staying the same. He unleashes a wild barrage of fireballs, raining them down in every direction to try and delete him for good. Tenma just pops his black wall again, letting the explosions throw heat and dust everywhere while the demon laughs, thinking it's finally making charcoal. But when the smoke clears, the guy just walks out totally unbothered, with the system announcing another 15% buff to his defense. He doesn't even slow down, activating Thunderbreaker and surging forward with a burst of electricity that makes the demon's jaw drop. The kid is moving even faster now, blitzing straight through the fire barrier like it's not even there. With a dark, focused gaze, Tenma tells the beast it's time to rip those scales off. He launches himself like a shadow and hits the demon's protective shield with a punch so heavy, the barrier literally splinters and shatters into pieces. As the boy lets out a furious battle cry, his resistance stats climb another 15%, and that's when the demon starts sweating. He checks the boy's defense stat and nearly loses it as the number has broken past 600 points, which is absolutely insane for a human. The demon finally realizes this level 0 kid is basically a raid boss in disguise, and his survival instincts kick in hard. He panics, turns around, and starts bolting through the forest while screaming for backup. But there's no getting away as Tenma catches up and pins him down, and the once mighty demon instantly switches to begging. Tenma doesn't even react. He stays cold, ignores all the noise, and starts charging up an insane amount of power into his next punch. Right then, the system drops a message that his next hit is a guaranteed critical. The demon stares at him, genuinely wondering if he's the real demon here, just as Tenma dashes forward with lightning crackling behind him. The punch lands, and it hits so hard the ground straight up shatters, blasting the entire area into a massive cloud of smoke. As the smoke finally clears, Tenma looks down at the absolute wreckage from above. It's over, but he's actually a little salty about it because he really wanted to make that demon suffer a bit longer before sending it to the Shadow Realm. Suddenly, something clicks in his brain, and he realizes he's slipped back into that legendary flow state right after landing the crit. He starts wondering if there's some secret meta link between his critical hits and this insane level of focus he keeps tapping into. Checking his system, he sees his total stats have officially crossed the 2,000 mark, which is a massive milestone that basically puts him in a different league. Just then, the defeated demon's soul shatters into 2 glowing green karma forms and zips through the trees at high speed. Our boy watches it go, noticing that one energy is heading towards Josek and the other is going straight toward the workshop. Our boy's a little confused, thinking they probably should have split up more since both Death and Aiden are there. Not one to sit around and overthink, he sparks his lightning and takes off at full speed, worried that the energy not splitting could mean Aiden might be dead already. Back at the workshop, things are looking pretty grim. The Shadow General is blocking Iberia's attacks like it's just another Tuesday on the other hand. Even with the dragon armor boosting him to his absolute limit, Iberia sees his strongest hits doing 0 damage, and his frustration is hitting a boiling point. Still, he refuses to give up, swearing to keep spamming his best moves until the creature finally breaks. The Shadow General is totally unimpressed, looking at the kid like he's a minor inconvenience, and pointing out that the power gap between them is still astronomical. Just then, even while frozen solid, Iberia's father is screaming at his son to take off the dragon gear, even threatening to disown him because he's so terrified for the boy's life. But the boy has already locked in. He thinks about Tenma and figures if his friend were here, he'd make the exact same ride or die play. Ignoring his dad's pleas, he leaps from a massive height, diving straight at the enemy with every bit of mana he has left in the tank. The Shadow General watches the whole emotional family moment with straight-up disgust, and decides he's had enough. With one casual move, he pulls together his ice magic and snipes the boy right out of the air. Just like that, Iberia gets frozen mid-flight, completely locked in place and unable to move. Same freezing spell, same helpless situation, while the demon keeps talking about how everyone should know their place. Right after that, the system pops up a warning that the dragon armor's only got 3 minutes of power left. At that exact moment, instead of getting locked down by the ice crystals, the wolf levels up, jumping straight from 19 to 20. It shatters through its icy prison, emerging even stronger and ready to tear the head off anything that gets close. Tenma is also there and figures out that the wolf actually absorbed that green karma sphere from the fire demon he just deleted, which explains the sudden power surge. But before he can even enjoy the level up, he notices a weird purple glow as a wave of dark, intense magic starts pouring out of a hole nearby. Not wasting another second, our boy dashes straight toward it, knowing he can't wait for Yosuke. Outside, Josuke is busy fighting the white ogre and lands a massive swing, cleanly slicing one of its hands off. Even without its hand, the creature lunges at him, forcing Josuke to slide back quickly to dodge the claws and reset his position. The warrior glances back at the gash he'd carved into the monster earlier, and realizes the thing has already completely healed back to full. He's a bit shook because the regeneration on this beast is actually unreal. He's scrapped with some high-tier threats before, but this creature's healing factor makes it one of the most annoying bosses he's ever had to deal with. Seeing a glowing karma sphere nearby, he locks in and decides he's taking this win solo, pouring every bit of his remaining juice into his blade until it's glowing a menacing red. He lunges in for the finish, but the beast is smart enough to cross its arms and tank the hit right in front of its weak spot. Josuke lands without getting the KO he wanted, but that moment actually gives him the winning strat. He realizes those arms are the only thing keeping the monster in the game. If he deletes the defense, the core is wide open. He hits the creature with a sharp, confident smirk, the kind that says he just figured out the entire puzzle. Charging back in, he launches a relentless flurry of slashes at the beast's chest, but the real goal isn't the kill yet. It's to systematically shred both of its arms. He's already done the math and knows the monster needs exactly 1 full second to regenerate after a heavy hit, and that 1 second is all the window he needs. With eyes burning, he loads all his rage into one final devastating swing. A trail of red energy rips through the air, hitting the monster's core dead on and finally putting it down for the count. Taking a breather, Josuke admits that was a total sweatfest, and fighting a heal bot like that is absolutely exhausting. As the smoke clears, he knows he can't just camp out. He needs to link up with Tenma and prep for the next wave. Meanwhile, things have gone from bad to worse for the blacksmith. The Shadow General has him completely pinned and is enjoying every second of the old man's misery. The blacksmith only has one request left. He begs the demon to spare his son and keep the kid out of this mess. But the Shadow General isn't interested in a no-kill run. He tells the old man that he's about to lose his free will entirely and become nothing more than a puppet on a string. That's when the Shadow General drops some terrifying lore about his son's armor. He recognizes the gear as belonging to the Dragon Tribe and explains that their life force doesn't just vanish when they die. It lingers inside the gear like a virus. The longer someone wears the suit, the more that leftover dragon soul starts eating away at the wearer's mind. And in the end, their whole body is taken over by a genuine dragon. The story takes a quick beat to flashback, showing Josuke and Iberia walking together. The kid is geeking out about how much he looks up to Tenma, which actually catches Josuke a bit off guard. He asks why the boy is so focused on him specifically when there are plenty of other legendary warriors out there to admire. Josuke even mentions some famous fighters they've both heard of, pointing out that even he has more of a reputation than the boy might think. Iberia goes totally quiet, realizing he doesn't actually have a scripted answer for that. He stands there looking surprised that he can't even explain his own feelings. That small moment really sticks with the kid, making him realize that his admiration for Tenma was just always there in the background, like a permanent buff he never bothered to check the stats on. 10 years ago, tiny Iberia was running around with pure main character energy, swinging a wooden sword like it's the most legendary weapon in existence. His mom watches with a wholesome smile, asking if he's vibing with his birthday gift, and the kid is absolutely obsessed. He even gives the toy sword a heroic name, and announces to her that he's going to be a real-life hero, protecting everyone from monsters. He sprints off to show the neighborhood kids, while his dad watches from the sidelines, low-key wondering if the kid actually has any real friends to play with. The hype doesn't last long, though. The little boy runs up to a group of kids to show off his pride and joy, but the mood shifts into toxic lobby territory instantly. The other kids are clearly jealous, and one of them demands to see the sword up close. Little Iberia senses the bad vibes and grips his sword tight, but the bullies close in, making snarky comments about how his dad is a blacksmith and can just craft a new one, whenever. The boy wants to say no, but the fear is too real, and he completely freezes up. With a fake smile hiding some serious tears, he hands over the sword, and the bullies just laugh and run off with their stolen loot. Looking down from above, the little boy is just a lonely figure standing in the middle of a massive, empty yard with absolutely nothing. He's standing there biting his lip, totally tilted at himself for being too scared to stand his ground. He eventually heads back to the workshop where his dad is busy hammering away at some metal and his mom is resting. When his mom asks if he had a good time, he hits her with a total lie, saying everything was great just so she wouldn't worry. Of course, his mom can tell he's capping. She goes quiet, while his dad, who definitely knows what's up, asks where the training sword went. His mom is ready to go mom mode and get it back, but the blacksmith stops her. He points out that even if they get it back, the bullies will just spawn camp him and take it again. He slams his hammer down, frustrated that his son doesn't even have the courage to ask for help when things get rough. He's not being mean, but he's clearly worried that his boy is being way too passive for his own good. Months pass, and the next memory shows little Iberia crying his eyes out in a hospital hallway, his eyes flickering with a faint golden glow. His dad is absolutely losing it, grabbing a doctor by the coat and demanding to know why they aren't doing more to save her. Inside the room, his mother calls his name in a whisper that's barely audible. The boy rushes to her side, grabbing her hand like his life depends on it and begging her not to leave. She speaks to him one last time, telling him that while his father might call him a coward, she knows he's just a soft soul with a kind heart. But then she drops some heavy truth that being kind without being strong is a dangerous combo, because eventually, you'll end up hurting the people you love by being unable to protect them. She tells him he needs to level up for real, to grow strong and brave for when it actually counts. She asks him to watch over his dad and tells him she's 100% sure he's going to be a legendary awakened one someday. Then, the heart monitor flatlines, and the boy just breaks, promising through the tears that he'll become the strongest and bravest fighter in the world. Coming back to the now, Iberia thinks about the first time he ever met Tenma. Honestly, the guy's power was so on another level that it was straight up terrifying, and the boy figured he'd just be some temporary ally passing through. But as they spent more time together, he realized Tenma was built different. He'd watched him solo hundreds of awakened ones and stand down disaster-class beasts without even blinking. Beneath that tough guy exterior, Tenma always had a way of helping people, quietly, and with a warmth that most people would never see coming. Eventually, Iberia finally says it out loud to Josuke that the only reason he's grinding to get stronger is to follow the path this man is walking. He looks at Josuke with pure determination, admitting Tenma is the exact kind of awakened one he's always dreamed of becoming. But then his confidence dips, and he admits he feels talentless and like a total coward, thinking he could never actually reach that tier. Even with blood on his face, he just smiles and says that being able to fight side by side with the guy is a big enough win for him. But then the transformation finally hits 100%. The dragon suit fully takes over, and Iberia turns into a full-on monstrous dragon. Before he can even react, he hears a familiar voice calling his name. He turns, and there's Tenma, just standing there, looking right at him. Our boy spots him from a distance and calls out, reminding him he was literally told not to use that dragon gear. But then he notices the smoke coming out of his mouth and quickly realizes something's off. His reactions are weird, and he doesn't look the same anymore. The dragon kid's eyes flash red as he mutters something, so our boy asks what he's trying to say and where his father is. Out of nowhere, the monster lets out a loud roar and goes for a sneak attack from behind, but Tenma reacts just in time, grabbing his wrist and yelling at him to snap out of it. He shoves the beast back, and they lock eyes for a second like Iberia's trying to say something. Then the system pings, Windblade is active, and blue energy starts crackling around the beast's claws. It fires off an air slash so strong it basically erases everything in its path. Tenma quickly uses magic detection to figure out what's happening, and just as the attack is about to hit, he dodges, realizing it's a wind elemental skill. Now he's not even sure if it's the armor controlling him or something else entirely. At that point, he activates Thunderbreaker, deciding the only way to deal with this is to knock some sense back into his friend. The armored beast also charges at full force, and they both collide. Even while they're getting overwhelmed in the fight, Tenma can still sense his friend's aura buried under the corruption, and it throws him off. He can't understand why his own teammate is trying to kill him. Then he hears a faint voice from within the monster, almost like Iberia is begging to be put out of his misery. The realization hits him hard, but before he can react, the monster lets out a powerful roar and swings at him. Just as the attack is about to land, Josuke steps in and blocks the strike, saving him. With a strong shove, Josuke sends the beast flying back and takes control of the situation. He clearly states that this is the worst-case scenario. As they talk, the monster starts flashing around them in a fast circle. Josuke then reveals that the armor hasn't just made Iberia stronger, it has completely taken over his body. When Tenma suggests removing the armor, Josuke immediately shuts the idea down, saying it is fused with Iberia's body. Based on his experience, there may be no way to bring him back. Without hesitation, he says the only option left is to kill the creature. He tells Tenma to step away so he does not have to watch. But the boy refuses. He steps forward and stops Josuke, insisting that he will handle it himself. Instead, he asks Josuke to track Aiden and rescue anyone trapped by the ice beast. Then, he summons his death hound and prepares to fight. Josuke agrees, but warns him that if the creature escapes, it will only become more dangerous, so it has to end here. As Josuke leaves with the wolf, the boy blocks the beast's charge. The creature fights back with Windblade, slicing through everything in its path. As the battle continues, the boy notices something important, that his friend is still inside. He is holding back and not fully trying to kill him. Just then, the beast gathers all its energy and uses the 1,000 Windblades attack, sending multiple claw-like slashes toward Tenma, who stands there without moving a muscle. To Iberia's shock, the boy simply walks straight into the slashes. As they hit his body, blood splatters everywhere. Even in his monster form, Iberia is in tears, screaming as he watches this happen. Somewhere else in the Shadow Realm, the demon general is seen kneeling before Lord Linga, reporting that they've finally captured Aiden. The cost was heavy, losing both the fire demon and the white ogre, but Linga doesn't even blink at the losses as long as the target is secured. The general then drops some tea about Lord Saru, the massive beast who is currently struggling in his fight against Izumi's squad. Linga initially brushes it off, thinking Saru was just a distraction anyway, but he's actually shook when he finds out Saru is being held back by a single special-grade human. Linga demands a name, and the general reveals it's Heighten, the man rumored to have the tankiest, strongest body in existence. The scene jumps back to the battlefield where Heighten just blocked Saru's massive attack head-on like a total boss. The group, especially Chiri, is watching from the sidelines in pure awe. Even though his wounds are healed, he's never seen a fight this brutal up close. Saru isn't slowing down though, and swings with enough force to literally delete the ground beneath them. The girl tries to rush in to help, but Izumi stops her immediately, assuring her that Heighten isn't soft enough to die from basic hits like that. He warns her never to underestimate a special grade, and right on cue, Saru's fist is forced upward to reveal Heighten standing there, completely unbothered. Izumi starts thinking back to Heighten's legendary second form, and just hearing the hype has his daughter in shock. Suddenly, Heighten basically goes Super Saiyan. His aura shifts completely, and his stats skyrocket into the stratosphere. The only downside to this beast mode is that he becomes a total maniac in the process. Before Izumi can even finish explaining the name of the form, Heighten launches himself off the ground and flies straight through the monster's chest, leaving a massive hole where its heart used to be. He lands behind the beast and, like a total Chad, doesn't even look back as the monster collapses. The girl is confused about where he's heading next, but Izumi explains that he's on his way to smash the stele that's maintaining the barrier. She's hyped that even in his maniac state, he's still following the objective. Izumi points out that if Heighten couldn't tell the difference between allies and enemies, he wouldn't be a true special grade. With one punch, Heighten completely wrecks the stele, and as it shatters, his eyes return to normal. He looks around, totally confused about where he is, and sighs with regret when he realizes he slipped back into that other form again. As the barrier starts to fade away, the group gets hyped, but Izumi takes a second to call out his daughter. He reminds her that she was basically ready to throw her life away for Heighten earlier, noting that's definitely not her usual style. She gets a bit down after the call-out, but quickly changes the subject to Tenma's squad, hoping that the rest of the crew is holding things down on their end. Back on the other side of the battlefield, the monster that was Iberia is losing its mind, absolutely baffled as to why Tenma didn't even try to dodge that last attack. Tenma, however, took the hit on purpose as he feels like physical pain is the only thing that can numb his heart right now. He walks straight up to the beast and activates his clear orb, firing it directly into the creature's chest like a high-caliber bullet. The orb rips through the corruption, causing the dragon armor to shed and crumble away completely. It reveals Iberia, who is a bloody mess and crying his heart out, confessing that he only put on the suit because he didn't want to be a dead weight anymore. Tenma tells him he never once thought he was a burden, and drops the real truth that the disaster beasts weren't trying to kill his dad, they were trying to turn him into a puppet. With a look of pure stone, Tenma promises the boy he'll save the blacksmith and personally crush the beast behind all this drama. Even though he's fading away, Iberia hears this and smiles, leaving the rest of the mission in Tenma's hands. As the second day of the prophecy draws to a close, Iberia falls, and Lord Linga is seen smiling in the shadows, hyped that he's deleted someone close to Tenma and promising to erase everything else he cares about. Deep in the forest, Chiri is feeling a bit confused about the mission. He doesn't get why they're still escorting Izumi all the way into the mountains even after the main threat was taken down. It was supposed to be Heighten's job, but since he's basically out of commission after his maniac transformation, the rest of the squad has to pick up the slack. As they're hiking, Izumi's daughter suddenly stops the group as her spirit senses are picking up something weird on the path ahead. They look up to see a figure standing, carrying a body in his arms. At first, they don't recognize the person, but as they get closer, Izumi's daughter realizes it's Tenma. The vibe is immediately off, and she starts sweating just looking at his face, wondering what kind of nightmare could have happened to make him look like that. Before Tenma can even get a word out, Josuke spawns from the shadows and says he can explain the whole disaster. Izumi recognizes the veteran instantly but is confused because he was supposed to be the bodyguard for Aiden. Josuke quietly admits that this time, the good guys took a massive L. The battle ended in the worst way possible as half of the northern region is in ruins. Aiden has been abducted by the demons, and his son is dead. Josuke explains that he tried to track the magical trail, but the enemy was playing 4D chess. The general left a bunch of clones everywhere to hide its tracks. Izumi asks about Tenma's condition, but his daughter notes that the boy is refusing any medical treatment. She can feel a rage radiating off him that's fiercer than anything she's ever sensed before. Later on, Tenma is seen sitting alone in a room, staring at an old childhood photo of Iberia with his family. He starts spiraling into memories of the first time they met, and the whole journey they shared up until this point. It's a heavy moment, but he eventually snaps out of it and calls out his wolf. The system window pops up, showing that the loyal beast has officially hit level 20 and is rocking some seriously heavy status points now. The squad might be down, but Tenma is clearly prepping to go on a warpath. Standing up, Tenma is looking like he's ready to crash the whole server, promising to hunt down the disaster beast and absolutely demolish whoever did that to his friend. Just then, Izumi and the rest of the squad walk into the room, and you can practically feel the tension through the walls. Chiri, who's tagging along, realizes this guy is actually Izumi's second disciple and is rumored to be a total beast in combat. When Izumi sees him trying to head out, he asks where he's going, and Tenma doesn't mince words. He's going on a rescue mission to bring back Aiden. But his master hits him with a hard no immediately. Izumi explains that the Salvation League has already flagged this as a special grade threat, so if Tenma wants in, he needs to be at least a second grade savior. Hearing that, the boy goes from 0 to 100 real fast. He's enraged, arguing that he doesn't even have the right to help and that he made a promise to his dying friend. He tells them straight up that if they won't let him go, he'll just go against them and do it anyway. The whole group is shook hearing him talk to the master like that. Izumi stops him cold, asking if he's actually okay with people dying because of his reckless choices. He drops a heavy truth bomb, saying all of this happened because he thought they were only after him and neglected Aiden's protection. However, Izumi assures him they won't kill Aiden after going through all that trouble to grab him, but warns Tenma that his current power level isn't enough to handle this final boss scenario. If Tenma can actually surpass the special grade level, Izumi promises he'll personally request the League to hand the mission over to him. To get that strong, Tenma has to join the Apex camp, an invite-only hellscape for the top 10 awakened in the Salvation League. Total powerhouses like Heighten and Tiwajan have all survived that brutal training to become the key protectors of humanity, and the next session starts in just 3 days. The master explains that clearing this camp is the only way to rank up and become a special class. Tenma agrees to the terms, but first, the squad needs to deal with his injuries. Izumi's daughter steps up, using her butterfly spirit to start the healing process, and while she's working, Tenma asks her what the deal is with this Apex camp. He's worried she's judging his plan, but her reaction is actually pure concern. Even though her father said it was perfect for him, she reveals that the place is basically a graveyard for geniuses. People who have been top tier their whole lives go there and come out with their minds completely broken. The training is so fatal and brutal that accidents are just part of the daily routine. Our boy doesn't even blink though. He knows that fighting these low-level beasts won't help him evolve his mimicry skill. He needs to be fighting on the edge of life and death to truly level up. He gets close to her, reminding her that taking on high-level threats is just what an awakened one does, and notices her face is getting red from using all that healing mana. She gets awkward, blaming it on her body temperature rising from the skill, but he's already focused on the next move. He throws his coat on and heads for the door, telling her with a dead serious look that he's going to say goodbye to someone. Tenma heads straight to the forest where they've set up Iberia's grave. Josuke is already there paying his respects, and he takes a second to apologize to the boy for making him deliver the final blow to his own friend. Tenma assures him it's all fine and reveals his plan to join the Apex camp so he can eventually hunt down the disaster beast and end it himself. When he asks about Josuke's next move, the veteran gets a bit sentimental, explaining that his master gave him everything, his sword, his skills, and even his life, so he's going to go find him no matter what. Tenma stops him with a fist right in front of his face, promising that once he levels up, they'll go rescue Aiden together. Josuke gladly agrees, and the two share a solid fist bump to seal the deal. Watching from a distance, Izumi and his daughter are genuinely amazed at how quickly Tenma seems to have bounced back. Izumi points out that the boy hasn't actually healed. He's just buried all that negative energy deep down, so he can unleash it later when it counts. With that, Izumi departs for a major meeting with commanders from every continent, leaving Tenma in his daughter's care. She's feeling pretty proud of her new guardian role, but Tenma immediately calls her out, asking where they're heading next. She tries to keep it classified and mysterious, but eventually points the way to Nakasu, letting him know they're heading straight there to join the Apex camp. Our boy doesn't hesitate and happily follows her lead. Meanwhile, in a completely different spot, that red-haired guy, Reiji, is having straight-up nightmares about the time Tenma absolutely wrecked him. He wakes up screaming and covered in bandages like a total mummy. His mom tries to calm him down, asking if he's still dreaming about the person who hurt him, and he confirms it while swearing he'll get his revenge. His mother tells him to relax because his big brother is finally here to handle things. Right on cue, a massive powerhouse of a guy steps out of the shadows, asking if the person who hurt his brother was Tenma. Just hearing the name makes the younger brother spiral, screaming about how Tenma took first place in the preliminaries. The big brother just starts smiling like a total maniac. He knows Tenma is definitely going to show up at the Apex camp after a performance like that. He looks ready for a fight, promising to absolutely crush Tenma once they cross paths at the camp.